Hi, everyone, and welcome to Truth Camp. I'm your host, Crystal Gaznichek, with my co-host and wife, Sarah. We believe that there is something you can learn from everyone and want to help share these truths to help inspire and motivate. Thank you for spending time with us today. Now let's get started.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Truth Camp with myself, Butter Biscuits, my wife, Crystal, and this is a 2-season-long overdue
Episode.
guest, MaeLynn Lester. Insert applause.
Thank you.
I think you're the only three-namer.
Listen, I haven't been called MaeLynn Johnson Lester ever.
It's probably by your mom.
I swear to God, I have you in my phone now.
She does. She has you in her phone that way.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean,
I'm special though.
you are
so,
special.
I guess.
So this is my bestest friend. I'm gonna cry.
Oh my God, no.
Oh.
I can't.
In the whole wide world.
Oh my God. See, now I'm real hot.
Sarah's getting emotional here.
She's always been that.
PMSing.
Oh my God.
Fucking nipples hurt this morning, and now I'm gonna cry because I'm talking to my best friend.
Yeah, I feel like MaeLynn's
We're
trying to
gonna be
avoid
okay.
eye contact with the camera.
Yeah,
She's like, just don't look at it.
like this is what happens before I bleed.
Oh my God. Hilarious. I can't.
So,
No.
but we're gonna talk about all kinds of crazy shit.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
How long have you guys known each other?
So we are 36-ish. So it's been about 30 years.
Yeah.
If not longer.
Wow.
We're
Yeah.
trying to find documentation proof this friendship. And it's really hard.
But I know for sure that there is some form of.
Oh, there's so many
Yeah.
pictures. I
know that
don't
I have.
know.
I know that I have our coaches pitch pictures from probably like 93, from when we were doing coaches pitch at. We played for the A's. We worked for the A's. Oh my
we worked
God.
for the A's.
No, we played for the A's. There's actually pictures. I know there's a picture of just me and you that
Yes.
somebody took of us just like standing next to each other.
Which
we were standing next to each other in the team picture.
Because it was probably Grandma or Annie. Like
Yeah,
those-
they're the only ones that actually
The only
take
ones that
fucking
took pictures of us.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that you guys are like struggling to think of like a single picture that you have
But
together.
because we've always just been. I don't know. We've always.
Pictures are less important than moments.
Yes.
Very true. Very true. I mean, we've got several moments. I mean,
Well,
moments of like.
we didn't have the smartphones.
No.
So, like, we grew up in the last generation where you could do shit and get away with it.
Yeah.
So there's so many moments I think of.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh, man, I wish a picture existed
Yeah,
for that. I
we
wish
had
a
a
picture
picture of
existed.
that. Like the times we would be in the kitchen fucking dancing in sport bras and shorts, like to TLC.
Like we knew what the
We
fuck
had
they
like
were
Crazy
saying.
Sexy Cool album came out and we went ham and crazy. But I mean, we were always together. I didn't live far from her, so I would walk over and just she had everything. She was an only child. That was weird for me. I'm like, they have families with only children? Like, where do they do that at? I mean, you know what I mean? But she was the only child. She had everything. She had a huge room. She always had a pet somewhere, you know.
Weird.
It was weird. Yeah. Back then there wasn't as many. There wasn't as many back then. Back then, I mean, we had there might have been like a cat or two. And one dog, for sure.
Yeah.
At the
That
time.
was like about 3-4 cats, 1 dog territory.
At the time.
Yeah.
And then, since then, you live with her. I got to take an allergy pill when I come in there.
I would like to point out for the record that a lot of this is because I can't tell you no.
Yeah.
And I do love animals. I'm like,
And I couldn't
go ahead.
have animals
Go ahead.
growing up because we always rented, so I'm
Oh.
living my dream now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, I didn't have pets growing up because I lived with my mom. Like, you know, at the time, I was just like, not many like black families had pets. So my dad had a dog once. and I would go over there, but
Oh,
or I'd go
Emmett.
to her place. Yeah,
Is that
Emmett.
Emmett? Yeah,
Emmett lived for like
Emmett.
16, 17 years. He was a border collie.
Emmett was alive for
Love of my life.
forever.
Love of my life. But like, you know, that's the only time I actually got to see pets. My grandmother let me have a goldfish once, and I got it from the fair. Those things die like within a week. No,
That's
that
what
bitch lived
parents.
for about 10 years.
That's what
No
parents
way.
hope.
Swear to God.
It's
They
because you
hope.
wanted a pet so bad.
So bad.
You know,
So bad.
not to ruin your hopes and dreams, but or grandma just kept going and getting another goldfish.
No, listen, no, real shit
No.
was the same one. Because my grandfather was like, when it dies, that's it. And they were like, well, we were hoping that it was going to die within like a week. And no, it didn't.
MaeLynn was nursing that.
That's how
thing.
that's how those
Pump.
fair animals get you though, because
Yeah.
parents are like, "Fuck it, it's like
Yeah.
go ahead and win that prize, and then you're stuck with it."
And the crazy thing is like, so I wanted to go play the goldfish game, but like my aunt and my grandma were like, no, you're not going to play. But the crazy thing is they had me get on this Ferris wheel there. Well, it broke while we were on it. Like a cord snapped off of it, and and it kept going, and they had to like have people manually hold it together for people to jump off. So I was freaking out, scared. So they were like, we'll let you get a goldfish when we get off. We'll let you play the game. And I was like, okay. So that's how it got me calmed down. My last little ball, boop,
Right.
took that motherfucker home and lived for about 10 years.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Mom,
crazy.
Mom just sent me one of your senior pictures.
Oh, which one? Oh, mom's a mom.
I can't wait to put these up
But
on
wait,
screen.
she's sending fucking videos of pictures.
Tell
No,
mom to
she's
take a
literally- that's
picture,
what I'm like, can you just send
like an
a
actual
fucking
picture.
not a video?
Oh my god.
Yeah, I sent a couple good ones. This one's a
Is
picture
that,
of both of
that's
them.
the one from? Oh yeah.
Aww.
Shout out to my African micros from the Bronx.
So you guys
And
didn't
you guys
go to
are
school together
babies.
till high school, right?
Middle
No,
school.
middle school
Middle
because
school,
Sarah
okay.
went to Catholic
That's
school.
when you switched over.
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't be doing that to
Oh,
me,
and
Kath.
we love
slander the Catholics
Catholicism.
quite frequently on here.
No, we went to school. We didn't start going to school together until
Sixth
sixth grade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so because I think, yeah, it was sixth grade because I remember that summer, the summer of we played baseball and softball and stuff together. So we were always at the ball field. But like, your mom was more like not really for her going to public school.
Because my mom's white family is racist.
So they were more like, oh, like it was just like taboo. Like I'm like, why not? Like all your friends are here. Like just
Yeah,
come to
because my
Harding.
dad graduated from
And the
Simmville.
Simmville.
And
Yeah.
the school system's better.
Yeah,
So much better.
better.
Because I went to both, and I remember even just like computer class, like we were in computer class, the ones at Big Red were like brand new. You went to Central, and they were like 10 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, like it's definitely a difference.
Oh, and I think I had been asking
She had been asking for
for
a while,
a long time because that's
and
what
it was
all
just
my
like
friends were.
no. But like at the time when she was asking, like you would have went to elementary with me because I went to McKinley and you lived right there.
Yeah.
So she would have went to because at the
Because
time
I went to
Steubenville
preschool
had
at Roosevelt.
right.
That-
So did I.
So we
We
probably
were in
met
the same
then.
class. Wait, did you have Elena Westfall's mom,
Yes.
Patty? Yeah, we were in the
Because
same
it was
class.
me, you, Elena Westfall.
Mhm.
Who
It was a
else
bunch of us.
Was I mean, we were all. I mean, from the time.
But so what'd you do in that first year that your parents were like, nope, Catholic school?
So my mom's white Roman Catholic Italian family
Probably like
was like you
we can't do
sent,
it.
like you have
It's
to send
it's
them
real
there.
colorful place here.
Yeah.
Plot twist: my grandmother marries a black man, but I
It's not-
digress.
yeah.
So it was the pressure of like, this is where she's gonna go. And I did have one like aunt who was really more of a family friend that was like the fucking most ignorant of them all. And I think my mom just like gave into peer pressure
Yeah.
where she was like, we'll send her there. And a lot of my mom's friends,
We're all
and dare I say friends, like her party buddies sent their kids there. So then it was just like, we'll send her here.
right.
And then I fucking hated those kids. And then I would go like actually see my friends in the summer months.
Yeah, because that's the only time I can recall at a young age that we hung out was the summer.
Yeah, that was it. All summer
long, like every day.
Plus our dads played
Yeah.
softball, the beer leagues. So we literally
at
grew up at
Twines.
Twines. I was gonna say.
We grew up at
Remember, like,
Twines
You'd run over to Twines and Yuma would make us pizza.
every time.
Like, we would literally run to where, like, go in there, and there's grown-ass men belligerently drunk, and Yuma
Fried.
was his name, and
Fried.
he would make us
Like, hey, can we get the
pizza with the cheese.
And
Yeah.
it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
And it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Everybody's in there fried
And we would be there all day
all
long.
day long. I mean, we were there probably. And don't let it be a Saturday when we have games in the morning. We're pulling double headers on Saturday,
And
so we're there
All day, all night.
all day.
That's the life, though.
It was
That's the life. You're
It
spending all
was.
day at the baseball parks.
all day. Oh, listen, we had some great times. Like those summers were. I mean, playing. What's that game that we were playing, where it was like, you had throwing the ball back and forth, but we were like running up along
Rundown.
Rundown. So we're
Yes.
playing rundown. Like, I don't fucking remember.
Fucking rundown.
Playing
Yes.
rundown with tennis ball. Like Gary Stubbs is there. Like Chad
You would
Bauman.
fucking fire that tennis ball at people, too.
Yeah. But we were there, and like you would see kids that had been there all day. We're all in our uniforms playing.
Dirty.
Dirty as fuck.
Dirty.
Was that Bellevue Clubhouse and stuff still open at the time?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like the golf course was open at the time. The clubhouse was open. I mean, the pool at the time was open. They used to have like night swimming and shit up there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was. I mean,
The good old days.
man. Now.
Well, we stayed at like we seriously were at those fields until our mid-20s.
That's true.
Like 20 years of us, if you think about it, because we went from watching our dads play
To playing ourselves.
to playing ourselves. Like, we would play and then stay from our like high school games and then play on the co-ed leagues.
Yeah. Yeah, we did do that. We played drink all fucking. We were teenagers drinking then.
Bad.
I don't even think they have like the beer leagues down there anymore.
They do.
They do.
I know for a while you weren't allowed to like drink during the
You had to bring
games.
you had to like
You
bring your
kinda,
own,
like bring
keep it
your
in the
own.
cooler.
We're probably blowing up the spot with this one. But
Well, I don't know what they
Anybody
do
out
now.
there? I'm not sure what they do now, but you
What
know
we
you
used
kind of
to
just
do.
bring your own and just
Well, I played for 2 years and I was excited. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm finally gonna play in these beer leagues. And then, like, I brought beer and they're like, oh no, bro, you can't drink.
Well, what
Yeah.
ended up? What happened? Why did they stop that?
Because there was a bunch of belligerent people and like
yeah,
The-
like people weren't being responsible about it.
if you think about it, like the older generation of drinkers, like right before us, our age groups, was a lot more responsible with their drinking than we were.
They
we
were.
we were way
out of
more
control.
reckless. Like
Yeah.
we were drinking like they were drinking when we were like 16.
Right.
Accurate.
You know,
Right.
and that just
Accurate.
as that progresses, it just keeps getting worse.
At this age.
Yeah.
At this age.
Yes, this is like 18.
Yeah,
This is
18.
18.
And I feel like looking at that, I'm like, are we 14?
Right.
No,
Yeah.
18.
We were fucking 18 years old. Badass.
I can tell
kids.
just by my hair. That was 18. We were at somebody's. That's my brother.
Oh, there's Chad.
Oh my god, I have a picture of my brother. You guys aren't gonna believe it. I'm gonna send it to you, Sarah, because
A
I was
baby
gonna-
Chad?
no, Chad looks like he's on steroids right now. Because I was just like, who is this? My dad's like, that's your brother. I was like, stop playing with me. And I was like, this is a filter.
This is a filter.
And
Wait,
then-
this is baby Chad?
This is
He's not a
Photoshop.
baby.
Oh, well, he's always going to be a baby.
Yeah, but that's my little brother. That's me. This is 4 years ago almost. This is when he graduated. That's me. Doesn't look like me, but
No.
it does, but it
Is
doesn't.
that Zelensky's?
No, that's down. That's at Jagging Around. Look, never mind. Fralix.
Felix? I know
Downstairs,
Jaguar, yeah.
Jagging Around.
Oh, okay.
And as you can see from the
Downstairs.
photo, MaeLynn's lost a couple pounds.
Just a
from
couple.
that.
Just a couple. I mean, to be exact, my heaviest weight was 304 pounds when I had Johnny Ray. I weigh about 175 now. Oh, that's me in high school.
Back when
me and my
thought,
husband.
we thought we were fat in high school.
Well, we
and,
were we were always told we were overweight.
Yeah.
I'm probably
Meanwhile-
about $165.
I know, right?
And they're like, "You guys are so fat." I'm like, still pulling them, so it don't matter.
Still fucking your man.
Still get
People
your
actually
man.
say shit like that to you?
Oh my
Man,
God,
Oh my god!
yeah.
Were they?
Man, people are wild.
And like back then, like you look at it, I'm like, man, I was fit. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I was kind of fit, but like I was being called fat repeatedly at this size.
Absolutely.
Repeatedly.
Yep. We were like the big girls.
At that time.
I mean, I'm not gonna say like there weren't probably people that we thought were like that, like big girls in high
Yeah.
school, but nobody was ever going up to be like, look how fat you are.
But like that was like so. I mean, I can say this about myself. Like, like I said, I'm friends with everybody. So like if somebody had a problem with me, oh, that's my daughter. If somebody had a problem with me, that's how they thought they were going to hurt me, by calling me fat.
Yeah.
Because I was never mean to anybody. But like if somebody didn't like me
or felt threatened
by me, they were like
mad because you were pulling them.
Yeah.
Well, I think back about it now, and it's like no one ever called us ugly.
No.
Yeah.
It was always like,
You're a fat bitch.
You're a fat bitch. I'm like,
That's why I
and?
fucked your boyfriend.
So what? I'm still bagging them. Don't matter.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Who do you like? Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, that. I mean,
So
even
funny.
just looking back like 4 years, I always look at that picture of me and my brother because that's almost a couple weeks after I had my weight loss surgery.
Oh, it was after?
Yeah, it's like 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't eat anything at his party because I couldn't. But he had a party. Like I had surgery May 20th of 2019, and I'll never forget it because I had surgery that day and Johnny Ray had surgery that day because Johnny Ray had a lot of issues with her tonsils, so she had to have her tonsils taken out at 2 years old. So that picture, I always look at it because I'm like, this is literally, and that's me 20 pounds down because I lost.
I was going to say you
I
lost weight before the surgery.
Yeah.
Too.
So like when I had surgery. Oh, I done put my mouth on there. Sorry about that. When I had the surgery, like you have to do all these steps, and like so many people don't know about weight loss surgery. Like they're just like, it's the easy way out. It's not.
Mm-mm.
Like it's a struggle. I mean, it was like they didn't require me to lose a certain amount of weight, but I probably lost like 10 pounds prior to surgery. When I went in the surgery, I weighed 277 because I got on the scale before I went in. I said, I just want to know how much I weigh right now. So right before they put me out, I weighed 277. But that picture, I had lost 20 pounds in a week right after surgery, which was like fluid pretty much. Because I was like, 20 pounds? Like, what? Skinny. But no.
But also too, like
That's so crazy.
You got to go. I think that you deserve to give yourself more credit than that. Like you
That's
at this
so
point
crazy.
had 3 kids.
I did.
You had 3 babies,
3.
and you had.
I mean, I put
Like-
myself on the back burner a lot too.
Yeah, I mean, you had a husband.
Mm-hmm.
You also were having health problems with your pregnancies.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I remember when we were together, like you didn't eat like an asshole.
No.
Like you were never this person that was like, I'm going to eat shitty.
Like I'm eating
it
my
just,
feelings. Like I
these
was
were
never been
really
that
like, this
person.
was a health issue
Yeah.
for you. And like you always were super fucking active,
always.
always played sports.
Mm-hmm.
So this was not just like I'm overweight and I don't want to put in the work.
Yeah.
This was just like I'm putting in the work and I'm dieting and I'm exercising and
Yeah.
I'm gaining.
Right.
Like I can't get
But
control.
there was no control. I mean, with all 3 of my kids, I had gestational diabetes, which put me at higher risk to have it after having them. So every time I got pregnant, it got worse. So when I got pregnant with Kellen, it was like, oh, you have this, but we're just going to give you a pill to help you mellow things out. When I got pregnant with Phoenix, and it's always like towards the end of my pregnancy, like the part where you're real hungry and and with Phoenix, I was on insulin injections like once a day. Johnny Ray, it was 3 times a day. Most annoying everything. I was due to have Johnny Ray on April 17th. I had her April 4th because I was struggling to breathe. Because they're like, well, how are you feeling? I'm like, my blood sugars are out of control. I can't keep them under 250 on insulin.
Man.
Yeah. I was like, so I can't breathe. I said, I'm having a hard time. I have to sit up and sleep. I was like, they're like, I went to a doctor's appointment on April 4th, and it was crazy because I said, what if I have her today? Because my son's birthday is May 4th. And I was like, I could have her today. I went in there, and they were like, can you come back at 1 o'clock? And I was like, yeah, why? What's up? Like, we're going to have your baby today. Oh, okay. Let me call my husband because he was at work. I'm like, hey, we're having the baby today. He was like, stop playing. I said, I'm not playing. I was like, I can't breathe. They're going to get her out so I can feel better, So that's what happened. And it was like, okay, cool.
It seems funny to me, but like, you know what? if you could just come back around 1,
Right, we'll be ready for you.
Then we'll be ready to get this baby out of here.
We'll be ready for you about 1 o'clock. Yeah.
It seems like something that you're like, okay, we got to get this baby out. It's time.
Yeah.
It's time.
I mean,
not like, hey, give us about 4 hours.
Yeah. So,
nope. That's...
it was like, and then that's when I had made the choice to like, I was like, I want my tubes tied. I'm not doing this again. Because I felt like I was going to put myself in a spot where I can't get out of it. Before I think after I had Phoenix once, like weight loss surgery was newer back then. So like I went to get it done then, but it was like frowned upon big time. And it was newer and people were like, oh my God, I can't believe you're going to do that. You could do this on your own. You could do like,
and you're like, I've been fucking trying to do it on
like,
my
dude,
own.
I've been trying for years. Like, and then like I got to a point where I was like, I like myself this way. I'm cool. But I wasn't. I was super uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. Like I think what put the nail in the coffin for me was that me and John went with another couple of friends of ours to Cedar Point, and I went to get on a ride, and I couldn't. They could not strap me in. I literally I had to get off, and it threw me in a panic. I was vomiting. I got off the ride, and John was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Wasn't fine. I called Amber Konoski, and I was sobbing on the phone, and I was shaking, and I was like, I'm so fucking sick of this. Like, I can't, like, I have to do something. And then I started doing my research and finding people who were doing the surgery, and found me a great surgeon and did the work. I mean, it takes like 6 to 7 months to even get to surgery.
And also, you took your aftercare.
Super
I've never
serious.
spoken to another person
Super
that's
serious.
had this procedure done that has taken aftercare so seriously.
I know people that have put themselves in like serious health issues because they don't do the aftercare right at all. Like you have to watch what you eat. Everything.
You have to. I mean, and it's still like me being 4 years post-op. Like, do I eat everything I'm supposed to? No, but I know my limits and I know what will make me sick and what I need. Now, granted, like there's things that I don't eat anymore. I don't really do pasta anymore. I barely do bread. If I do bread, it's because I want it, not because I feel like I'm craving it. It's just because I'm like, oh, I want a little piece of toast with butter or something today. But I really don't. I don't get it. I don't do sugar. Like I don't do like ice cream and stuff. If I do ice cream, like I know I'm gonna be sick about it. But like I really don't do the shitty stuff. Like
but that's when it was a real lifestyle change for you and a commitment to like, okay, I don't want to be this way anymore, but I'm also going to have to make these changes because there's other people that do it. And like, you see them like 4 years post-op and they're just as big, if not bigger than they were. And you're like,
because, and then that's
happened?
where you go to look at it like they actually have a problem with food. You know, like me, I never felt like I had an issue with food. Like I'm not an emotional eater. If I'm feeling stressed out or I'm feeling some type of way, I don't eat. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just, my body's just like, we ain't having it, you know, but it just, I see people that have had the surgery and then their goal is to get skinny. I just wanted to be healthy. Like I just wanted, that's all I wanted. That's all I still want. I mean, I could still probably, if I want to, and people are like, well, what's your goal weight? Like I'm trying to be 130 pounds. I'm like, dude, want me at 130? Please. No, hell no.
People don't realize what you look like either. Like they look at her and they're like, oh, maybe she weighs like 150 pounds. Like, no, like try like 170 fucking 5.
Yeah,
like,
but you're solid.
You're solid when you're like a grown fucking person. Yeah. You're gonna gain weight. Like you're never gonna be high school. Like you're a child. Like being a 5'5" person, you shouldn't be like 130, but I want to be 119 pounds. No, that's not healthy.
But like so many people just, I'm like, if I wanted to, like my goal weight was like 155, no smaller than 150, but like I can't build muscle that way because I would be so thin. Like that's 20 pounds smaller than what I am right now.
And look like emaciated.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I hear people say like, "Oh, I want to get back to my high school weight." Like my high school weight was like $135 soaking wet.
I can't even see you at $135.
And now I'm in the best shape of my life, and the smallest I'm going to get is 170, and there's no way I could even get any smaller.
Well, I think that's the unrealistic expectations of like social standard.
Right.
Like, you know, the ideal guy is like, you know, like you want to be around 160 pounds and the ideal woman is like 120 pounds. Like
And those damn BMI charts. That
Oh my
the
God.
BMI.
Listen, I'm still overweight. I'm still overweight on my BMI chart.
BMI, she's obese.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Like, are you fucking well, I remember one time we went to the doctors and you were like, I have abs. And the woman was like, I know. And I'm like, and she's like, these things are just so crazy.
Yeah.
But that's where it puts it in your mind.
You're obese. Like, I think we should look at the definition of that word.
Right. She's like, look at these abs. They're obese.
She's like flexing. I'm like, am I?
Like, really?
But I mean, but like that's where people get in their heads about it. They're like, I'm still obese. Oh my God. I'm like, dude, I don't care. Like, I go to the doctors. They're like, oh, you weigh like 175 pounds and you're still considered obese. I'm like,
Cool.
Like,
Yeah, I
keep
think
it
that's
real.
why they need to check in more with people with how they actually feel.
Yeah. And like, that's like, so like I tracked down my surgeon since I moved back and actually go see her sometime next month. And she's like, I didn't even recognize you. And I was like, yeah, I get that a lot. You know, like nobody knows who I am or how I look or whatever. And she was like, you're like doing amazing. And she was like, well, so what's your weight now? And I'm like, I fluctuate between like 175, 170 here and there. It just depends on, the week, I guess. And then she's just like, well, okay, that's normal. She was like, you're going to fluctuate. She was like, how long has it been? I said, it's almost 4 years. She was like, that's crazy. She's like, you know how many people I got that come back to me that put everything back on and then some? Too many.
Well, it's alarming. Like, I read things and hear things like online of people who are like, I went to my doctor and like all my tests were like normal. I'm healthy. Like everything looks great. I feel perfectly fine. Like I'm happy with myself. And their doctor's sitting them down to talk about bariatric surgery.
But that was me. My labs were great. I mean, I was borderline diabetic. But my blood pressure was great. I didn't have any issues.
But you didn't feel,
but
like,
I didn't,
you didn't
yeah.
feel good.
Yeah.
But I think it's like if you go in and you sit and you're like, I'm happy with my body. I feel great. I'm able to do all the things that I need to do. And then it's just pushed, you know, that like,
I think
we're going to get you into
right.
bariatric surgery and then this is going to take care of you. Also, not to mention, you have to take a lot of supplements too.
You do. Like I take, well, I haven't been. Let me just keep it a buck here. So I take a calcium pill every day because I'm trying to make sure my teeth stay intact because I've heard some people are like, my teeth are falling out. I'm like, what? What do you mean? I need all mine. Like, what do you mean? Like, but I'm like, that's not me. That hasn't happened to me yet. So like my teeth. What? I'm like, what? What do you mean your teeth are falling out? They didn't say nothing about your teeth falling out. But
What's that got to do with my stomach?
And that shit's expensive.
Yeah. So man, but I did find a girl that remember. This is so off subject. You remember the girl that foreign exchange student? She was a swimmer, Andrea Amaya, when we were in school. Girl, she a cosmetic dentist in Venezuela. Shout out to her because I am coming to see you, sis.
No
Venezuela?
lie, let's go. We're going to
listen.
Venezuela. Let's go.
And her, she does a great job. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, you're a cosmetic dentist? She was like, yeah.
Bet.
Why
Because
in Venezuela?
That's
lot
where
of
she's
people
from.
travel
But that's where she's
the-
from.
Oh, for
See,
real?
she was a foreign exchange student, but that's where she's from.
Okay.
But bro, shoot that through.
And a lot of times it's so much cheaper. That's what we were
Oh
talking
my
about. You can
God.
go to like Mexico and stuff and get a whole.
Whole setup.
Like that's
Stop
totally
playing.
totally what's happening. Like
I'm gonna give you her IG information because you're gonna look
Please
at it and
do.
be like, "What?" I'm like,
because
yeah.
there's no fucking way. I'm not getting ripped off here with
Hell
some
no.
half-ass care. When people are like,
no.
"Don't go there. It's scary. You don't know what kind of care you're gonna get." Have you been to America?
Listen,
Do you know what we do to people here?
Man,
like,
listen.
I will happily trot my ass down to Venezuela
okay.
or Mexico.
Let's get a little vacation
That's
profit.
what I'm saying. You just wrap it
Like,
all up in a one.
yeah.
Like, how long we gotta be down here? Like,
Absolutely. Like,
let's get. I mean, but
couple weeks. Let's go.
But like, so I do take a calcium supplement. I take a calcium supplement. I'm supposed to take a B12. Again, supposed to take a B12, a multivitamin, and they had me on iron, but I don't do the iron every day because I'll never take a good shit if I do. So like that iron will constipate you every day,
and then you gotta take something.
and then
for
you got to
that.
take something for that. So, but like, I had, and they do have like, a bariatric, what they call like a bariatric pill that has everything in one. Like they got like these little gummies and shit, but they're expensive. I'm not paying for that. I'll buy this shit over the counter. That's fine. But like for the most part, like that's stuff you have to take every day because you lack a certain amount of, you know, vitamins, and you need that extra oomph to get you to be normal because you're missing 75% of your stomach. 75% of your stomach is gone. I have a banana shaped stomach still, somehow magically still, because I still get full off of 4 to 6 ounces of food.
So what are the biggest differences since you did have the surgery?
Since
just
I did have
eating and
super, like eating is top notch. Like I can eat, I can order, like me and John randomly if we go out or something, I can eat on that same dinner probably for 2 days because I'm only eating like 4 to 6 ounces of food at a time. So, and then there's certain things I can't tolerate. Like the bread and pasta, like I don't do that. I mean, if I do, it's very rare. Like we'll go out because we used to eat Italian all the time. So we'll go out and get Italian food, but I won't get pasta. I'll tell them like, can you bring me that, but without the pasta? I just want the veggies and sauce and whatever. And it's just like, I get side-eyed. I'm like, I don't eat pasta. I just don't. Like I don't rice. I can't really do rice because I get full so fast. And like 2 bites because it gets in my stomach and it expands. Yeah. So it's like, it's just like, well, why did I even bother? Now, I mean, the biggest change for me was when I was allowed to consume alcohol. That was like, man. So a lot of people that do have weight loss surgery, some of them do become alcoholics because when you consume alcohol, it hits your bloodstream so much faster because it doesn't have a lot of places to go through. It goes down into your stomach, and then it's within 15. I can have 3 beers and be rocked. You know what I mean? Like, I don't do liquor at all because 1 shot, sweating bullets. I'm like, Jesus. Yeah. I mean, and I had to learn the hard way because I wasn't prepared for that. Me and John went out, and I mean, I had a couple of shots, like just like, not nothing strong. At least I didn't think it was because it was something I used to drink. Nah. He was so mad at me because I was like, I was fucked up, and then I'm sitting in the car, I'm like spitting on the floor, and he was like, why are you spitting on my floor?
Like
just purposely, like just I mean, and he was like, I cannot believe you did this. And like even with wine, like when I come to you guys' house, 1 glass. That's what Crystal's like, you want a glass of wine? I'm like, yeah, let's go. Now when I come over, I'm like, can I get a coffee? Like, we could do wine. We could do wine in a minute.
Coffee.
Yeah. So, I mean, those were probably some of the biggest changes. But like, there are some people who don't tolerate like vegetables and salads, and I tolerate them very well, and I'm grateful because that's some of the stuff that I love.
What the fuck would you eat?
Yeah, what would I eat? Exactly. Like, it's just, I mean,
meat.
Just all meat.
Yeah. But like, and my food has to have some type of, you know, it has to be, I know this is like going to sound a little weird because I was going to say moisture, but I don't want to say that. And I just did. But, my food has to be wet. I can't have dry food. Like even my chicken, my steak, like it has to be somewhat like to where I can digest it fine. Like I have to chew for a while, you know. I mean, and at first you're not allowed to drink. You have to drink like 30 minutes after you eat. I mean, I've learned to get around that because but I mean, my food has to be wet. I can't have dry food because once it goes down and it starts to get in there, it's just like uncomfortable. And they call it dumping syndrome. So that dumping syndrome is just basically it's like a cramp, like, and it's just, you're just kind of like, you know, I have to like lay on the floor and stretch out with my arms above my head to just give it a chance to get through, you know what I mean? Because that's just some of the things. And that's overeating too. Like there's been times when I have overeaten. I'm not going to say like, oh, I'm so disciplined that I never, no, I overeat. There's times when I do, but I know when you're coming up on that, you know, like people are like, oh, I don't know. You know, because you can feel it. You're like, should I take that last bite?
Nope.
No, I'm cool. Then I box it up. Like John doesn't even have to really spend money on me when we eat.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah. He's like, you want to go out? I'm like, nah. I'm like, I guess we can, you know. Then we go and he's just like,
One dinner.
We can split this shit. We can split this, you know. So, I mean, but it was the best decision I ever made in my life. Like, I would never tell somebody who was interested, anybody who asked me questions about it, I would never tell them, no, don't do it. There's people that are just like really against it. I'm not, because honest to God, like it saved my life. It helped me save my life, you know. Like, I work out when I can. I mean, I haven't since I've been here. I ain't gonna front. Like, there's been a couple times I've shown up to Planet Fitness. You guys know my struggle with Planet Fitness. I don't know if it's I'm pretty sure it's the colors that just, I can't.
That's where I put in most of my work. Now I've switched gyms finally, but that's where I put in most of my work.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm used to just being in, like, I guess what would be considered like just a traditional gym. But when I go to Planet Fitness, especially being home going to Planet Fitness, I'm trying not to be seen, because there's people that I see that I haven't seen in a long time, and they want to, what are you doing? You know, I'm just like,
you know what's crazy is I pretty much go to 24/7 now, which has less people.
Yeah.
But I get bothered way more in there than I do
Do
at Planet
you?
Fitness.
Yeah.
Way more. Half the time I'll be there, I'll be like, I've been here for an hour and I've done one thing.
Right.
Like, fuck.
Right. But like, I think too, like, just being home for almost 2 months now, I'm just like still trying to find my groove, and once I do, it'll be, and like I say to myself all the time, like, because I have like random conversations with myself where I'm just like, I could really just take off with this. Like, I want to get carried away with it. I'm not ready to get carried away with it right now. Like, the whole being a gym rat and going full force with it. Like,
well, you're still like, you're waiting for John to get up
for my
here.
husband to get here.
Your kids are still like
adjusting.
They haven't even gotten into the full swing of shit yet.
Yeah, right.
So it's probably
that's
beneficial thing that you have it.
Right, and that's where I'm at with it. I'm just like, I'm glad that I'm not a very patient person. I don't know if you know that about me.
No, not at all. You're so patient. What are you talking about?
I have no fucking patience. So I'm not, I mean, but I'm, like I said, I'm just, once we get set and settled, it's fucking over. I'm going to go ham with it. Like, it's going to be like crazy.
You're going to be like, I'm dropping these fucking kids off at school.
Yeah.
I'm hitting the gym. And I'm doing this. And then
because that's the mindset I was in once they released me to go and work out. Mm-hmm. That's all it took. And I hated it at first because John's like, here, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And then I got tired of him
Tell me what to do.
Yeah, because I felt because I felt like I was like slowing him down, you know what I mean? Like, and I was like, fuck this, I'm doing this shit on my own. So I'm like, at one point I was on like an elliptical machine doing, like, I had a routine. Like, I'd go in, I'd do the elliptical for like 30 minutes, and then there was another machine that was like a glider, and I couldn't do it for 5 minutes. Because I was out of breath. I was so out of shape. So I was like, every day, I'm going to do 5 minutes more than yesterday. One time, I didn't even do the elliptical. I just got on the glider, and I was on that bitch for 45 minutes. And I remember crying afterwards because I was like, I couldn't even do 5 minutes a month ago. Now I'm up to 45 minutes. I couldn't do this. You know, there were certain things that I just couldn't do that I was starting to do, and that was the motivation. Like, my motivation, I tell people, I heard this, somebody, like a motivational speaker said, make sure your motivation is motivated. And I'm like, that's where it started. The ball just kept rolling. And then I was trimming down, but I was gaining muscle too. Mm-hmm. I remember talking to you, and I think I took a picture of my legs, and I was like, look. I was like,
yeah, that quad.
I was like, you see my quads? I was like, what is this? You know? And she was like, what the fuck? Like, it's so good. But I mean, I remember like before I had surgery, I came and me and you, she cried. We were crying.
Well, because
she was like, I'm scared for you. I was like, I'm scared too, but I have to do it.
It's a serious procedure.
Yeah,
like,
it's very serious.
It's not like a.
It's not like I'm just going in and
like there's a mortality rate with it. It's
absolutely.
Not like, because we talked about it too, because I was really, and I felt bad because I was so happy for you, but I was like really scared. Like legitimately scared. Like,
and
I'm
that's
like,
what I was like, it's okay, I will be okay. And she was like, I'm gonna cry. I was like, then I'm crying. Crystal's just sitting back like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's just, unfortunately, it's just one of those things where
you're gonna cry right now.
It was a fucked up thing because, it was something that was the right thing to do.
It was, but it was like
you just
had
don't
to
think
make
a surgery comes with
those. I mean, you
the
don't.
reality of what you're doing. Like, you're putting yourself under anesthesia
Yeah.
to have a major surgery.
But it was like, for me, I think it was just a life-changing situation. Like, I had to.
Well, I think the whole scenario was life or death for
Yeah.
you because mentally, like,
I
where
was
you were
gone.
was such a
Oh my God, I was
bad
like,
place.
and I've never been like that.
Mm-mm.
No, like I got to a point where I was just like, I had no respect for myself. I didn't even care. I was just like, fuck it. Like,
But that's so hard too when you're like, you're doing everything right, you're
Yeah.
eating right, you're working out, like you're moving, and then nothing's changing.
yeah. And they're like, it's your thyroid. I'm like, it's definitely not my thyroid. But
you're
okay.
like, okay, cool.
That's like number one. It's your thyroid. No, it's not my thyroid. I just, but like I said, I mean, I'd do it again if I had to. I mean, I wouldn't prefer to.
Yeah.
But
for
me,
it was the best.
It was the
thing
best
to
thing
do
for me. Yeah, and like my kids get to see the best version of myself. Like I used to be sleepy all the time. I used to not have. Now I'm just like bebopping. Like I'm always on 1,000. Like hey, That's why you're like, you want to come and record in the morning? I'm like, what time? Yeah, 12. I'm like, that's not
the
the
morning.
morning.
That's my morning.
Yeah.
Well, that way we worked out and
Yeah.
she has her stretch class
Yeah.
most mornings, and then we worked out.
I
and
know.
then-
I've been looking at that because I'm like,
Come
I know I
on.
need
Definitely
to.
should go. I
Listen,
missed it this morning.
She tries
Yeah.
it. Well, look, real quick, I was laughing because I was like, "That's not. It's fucked up with because your alarm AM PM. It's just one little swipe too many. Like you just got to barely touch it." And
I was sick when I heard my phone. I heard the text went off, and I was like, "Who's texting me before my alarm goes off at 6?" Oh shit!
and she gets me. She's like, "Do you want to come to stretch class?" I'm like, "No, that is way too fucking
Well,
early."
maybe now that we're changing it to 9, maybe you'll be able to.
Yeah, 9's
That's
more
a little bit
realistic.
better than
8 a.m. I'm gonna
That's
cry.
a lot for you.
I'm gonna cry.
I will. I get so emotional in the morning. Like when I'm tired like that, I just emotional. Like I'm so overstimulated.
Then
'cause
you have
I'm
the
so
dogs run
tired.
up you and wake you up.
Which is whatever. But yeah, so
Dog
maybe
mom,
in
like-
the summertime.
Yeah, like I
9
definitely,
a.m.
I definitely like to come and.
The,
You
the,
got
ol-
something you already?
And that's right.
the older we
Butter?
get, the more you gotta stretch.
You have
whether it be
to.
yoga, stretch class, whatever. You got
Man,
to.
you have to.
My back. I was so excited for today too, because my back has been killing me.
Yeah. And you overslept.
Oh, it was she. I got her text at 7:55 or something like that. Like motherfucker.
I'm gonna start texting you a wake up call whenever I wake up.
just in case.
Yeah.
Like Dave,
Dave, are you awake?
Send me like a nice song.
playing the harmonica.
We're gonna
I
bring
love
that.
it. That's it. It's just
I heard you playing the guitar. It sounds like you're getting pretty good at that.
Oh yeah, I did see that. So you're taking lessons?
Yeah, I used to play for a little while. I
Oh.
took lessons in my 20s,
Oh, okay.
but I kind of fell away from it. I really didn't play too much while we've been together.
Like the
A
first
couple
year,
times, yeah.
But
So I finally
Just when
picked
she
it
wanted
back
to
up.
serenade you.
Yeah, it didn't take much. She kind of told me about Crystal right off the bat, and I was just like, "Oh, okay." And I just didn't really say much. 'Cause
meanwhile, apparently everybody else in my life knew that I was gay. And just didn't want to
Listen,
fucking.
I
clue
purposely
me
was
in on it.
asking about dudes, even though I already knew. She was like, "I met somebody." I'm like, "Oh, what's his
I'm
name?"
like,
Well, he's not a he. I was like, "No way!"
like, bitch, you could have fucking told somebody.
I mean, I wasn't surprised at all because I was just like,
Honestly, if she would have came at you like that, it might have taken another 2-3 years for you to come out the closet.
I mean, but you know what?
I was never in the closet,
Yeah.
Dave. There
Well,
was
she was
no
never-
closet.
But I'm saying like full on like, okay, no, I'm just
It's
gay.
like-
No, it
Yeah.
would have helped me because
It might have.
I-
It might have.
I don't know.
like-
You're stubborn.
Man.
I am, but I'm also the most unaware person. Like I would be like,
didn't-
oh, so
I didn't
that's
even
what
think
that
it was whether or not she was gay or not. It's just who she fell in love with.
It's just like
It's just I mean, but she's always been like that. Even people that she's dated, she just kind of they would like certain things, and then I kind of see her liking that certain. I'm like, oh well, Sarah's just in love, like she just.
Yeah.
That's the autism.
Yeah, it
That's
has
the
to be.
autism.
You think I'm lying?
I'm like,
Fucking-
I've seen Sarah go from like, Abercrombie to like
country
as fuck to
Oh,
like
God.
rock. I'm like, bro,
not country music. Fuck country
we're-
music.
No,
but
not
country
like
dudes.
country dudes
Oh,
or
okay.
like
country dudes.
or like the one dude she dated. He was a little like into like punk music or heavy metal here and there, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I mean, I was there for all of it, so I've seen it all, So
I just like to say I'm an equal opportunity employer.
She is
There's zero
very much. She has no
discrimination over here.
discrimination. She don't discriminate.
It doesn't matter.
But when
your
she
skin
she
color,
don't
what
care.
you're into.
Yeah, because she was just like, you like it, I love it. I'm
I
like,
just
"Oh,
keep-
okay.
You
keep-
loved the
I
Filipino.
keep picturing
dude.
this scenario,
Yeah,
like
he
she
was-
said,
yeah.
somebody could have told me I was a full-on lesbian. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
keep picturing the scenario of somebody like Sarah, it's time to sit down.
We have this conversation.
And they have,
Let you know.
and they have pictures.
Right.
The one's a dick. It's like, how's this make you feel? The other one's a vagina. How's this make you feel?
I feel like if somebody sat me down and was like, "We really know that you like girls," I would have been like, "I need every dick right now."
Right now.
That's
Like,
what I'm saying. That's exactly what I was just saying.
But I mean, when she talked about Crystal, like I knew it was different with her because Sarah don't really light up about anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she's always just like, yeah, like so I met somebody and I was just like, oh, what's he like? And she was like, well.
And I normally don't
He's-
tell you
yeah, she
about
don't usually
anybody.
tell me,
It was
so
sneaking around
she
until
was like-
I got busted.
Yeah, that happened. And then she was just like, so I met somebody and I was just like, oh, okay. What's he like?
Well,
They're not a he. And I was like, oh. I said, oh, well, that's okay. And she was like, well, I don't know. Like, she's so hot. She's this and that. And I'm like, send me a picture. And I was like, she sent me a picture. I was like, okay, Ronda Rousey, okay. Okay. I was like, she real cute. She was like, I just can't tell you enough. Like, I can't get enough of her, all this shit. And I was like, so what are we doing with this? Like, so what are we doing? Like, are we really gonna, are we going this way? Or are we going, what are we
I was like, what are we
you know what I mean?
doing?
Like,
Or-
what are we
what are we
doing?
doing?
Or is this like the country boy?
Or is
phase?
this right? Because at first we were like I was just like, like, is this a phase? Like, but I knew it wasn't because of like just how much she couldn't stop talking about it. And like I said, she don't really fucking talk about anybody. So anybody that she's into, you know what I mean? She kind of just keeps it to herself. But she's like, I think I love her. And I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean? You love
This was
somebody?
like- This was like
Like
week
what?
2.
Yeah,
Who's,
yeah.
who's on the phone?
Right.
Go get Sarah.
Right. But then it just got to a point where like I got to meet Crystal and she was great. Like, and I could see why she loved her so much. And then when she wanted to propose to her, I was like, are you feeling okay? Like, because it was like, I don't want to get married. I don't want to have kids. I don't want to do this. And then it's like not even 6 months being with Crystal. It's like, I'm going to ask Crystal to marry me. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And she was like, no, like, I'm dead serious. And I was like, are you feeling okay? Like, and then it's like, she's like, I got this ring. And I was like, oh my God, like my best friend's about to get married. Like,
Yeah.
the fuck is going on? This one. Like, are you sure? And then she's like, I got this ring. And then she showed it to me and I was like, it's gorgeous. Like, what are you doing? And then she's like, I'm proposing. And I was just like, you're really doing this. Like, she's like, Crystal's around forever now. Like, but I mean, I couldn't be more happy for both of them. I mean, it's just like,
Yeah, I was gonna say like I knew you both a little bit beforehand, like you very little, because of your ex-husband, and then I knew you because of Sierra and being at the house and stuff like that. But together, I think you guys have both just like helped make each other the best versions of
oh my
yourselves.
God, yeah.
Well, I say
And
what
I think that's what made it.
together we are the perfect human being.
Yeah.
Like you think I'm lying,
Yeah.
like
They are though.
physically, mentally, like
Well, it's weird, like our
morally-
strengths too. Like,
Yeah.
you do better with things that I struggle with, and vice
Yeah, I
versa.
mean, like, I've never seen her this happy. Like, I've never seen you this happy. And like, I remember talking to Mom about it. Bro,
I used to go through an entire party without seeing Sarah smile once.
yeah, like just depressed as fuck. Like, just don't want to be there.
Right, just over there.
like-
That's when I figured out. I was like, oh, that's resting bitch face.
Yep.
Yeah.
In here, there's a whole thing going on.
Yeah, it's a
Externally,
party, but like,
You're like-
you know, just like she's having a good time on the inside. But then it's
I'm
just
not
like
so
out.
sure.
But then it's like
Like-
externally, it's just like I'm just like, what the? I mean, and you're talking about somebody who used to have parties,
Yeah.
Party Central, like
the party palace.
the party palace of fuckery, like. When we were kids, I was
The
missing
name
out
got
on
better when you added fuckery. I was like, you can't just call it the Party Palace. That's not.
fuckery.
You guys have some good stories though.
Aw. Listen, but I missed out on a couple of them because I had a boy. It was with John.
So,
I was-
yes,
Yeah, we
now
gotta
this is
talk
going-
about John.
So you and John have been together since Jailbait.
2001.
We have
We
some
were-
good pictures.
we were freshmen.
2001. I mean, I was with. I met John when I was 15. There's my prom picture.
We were freshmen,
My prom
and
picture.
he took you out of your hoe prime.
Oh, first of all, I was not that. I mean, okay.
What is this one? Is this one
The new one.
What's
Oh
that?
no, this is look.
Oh my God! That's senior trip.
Okay, listen. So the only
I'm
reason
dying.
I don't listen. I don't have
Okay.
everybody's permission.
Right. Okay, you did the right thing.
I don't have
You
everybody's
did.
permission.
I thought it was like, man, I hate
You did.
these people.
There's a couple of them in there that fuck them. But there's also like there's some people
This
that
is
I still
senior
really
trip.
care about there.
Who did
But
you get this from?
Mom,
Go ahead,
Mom just sent it to me.
Oh,
Whoa! Nice
a little too
touch.
close. A little too close, dude.
But well, yeah, I needed people's permission before I
Yeah.
could do this. And
So this was.
look how tan you were.
I'm always
This looks
Never
like
mind. I'm not always tan. I take that back.
This looks like a serial killer's photo.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Well,
this
we
was
were
your hit
about to
list.
serial kill each other.
Oh
on
my
this
God,
trip.
this trip was a fucking train wreck.
It was an
It
absolute.
was a train wreck to
Wait,
put
'cause
together.
Let me show you the one without everybody blacked out, so you know who's sitting where, so we can
so we can kind of
lightly
elaborate.
talk shit.
So this trip is like we were just kind of like.
Because this.
I
one,
mean, because it was.
it's this one right there.
Let me see.
Jesus, Mary, Joseph.
Will I be able to tell who
Jesus,
they are?
Maddie, and
Yeah.
Joseph.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, this trip, it was fun. I will say that it was fun. The only chaperones we really had were Sarah's parents, who had got a hotel next to us.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily,
And they ran the Party Palace of fuckery.
No,
so.
they
They
did,
were
but
like-
they
well,
but
they
they
were-
let us do our own thing. They did do
They
that.
were just there.
They were just there in
shit
case
went
like shit
bad.
went left because
And-
that's around the time
and that's
that
what did
Natalie Holloway was missing.
Oh.
So they were the only parents actually willing to go down and be there.
Meanwhile,
in
everyone
case-
else's parents were like, "Have fun,
have fun,
see
have
you
a good
later."
time.
My parents were like, you ain't going fucking nowhere.
Nowhere. My mom was like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "Myrtle Beach for the week." And she was like, "With who?" I was like, "The people I graduated with." What do you mean?
In their defense, actually, I did get arrested twice in high school. They're probably like, yeah,
Yeah.
another state, okay.
Right. But I mean, I think my parents were more okay with it being, that's my husband.
Yeah.
We probably been dating for like 6 months here.
Yeah.
How old were you when you met him?
15. I just turned 15. Yeah.
And you met him at school, right?
Uh huh. The way I met him was shitty, but
How'd
so
that
there
get
used to be a Iggy's Pizza on Lawson Avenue because John's sister lived next door to Iggy's and I lived around the corner. So they used to have 50-cent Tuesdays where you get a slice of pizza for 50 cents.
So good.
So at the time I was going in there, but I had been drinking with some friends. I'm 15, drinking with some friends, and he was in there getting pizza, and I knew who he was, but like I didn't talk to him much. So like I remember going in, and I wasn't drinking heavy. I was drinking like some wine coolers. I might have been even a little bit extra with my shit. You know what I mean? So like I was like, oh, it's Les, like because everybody called him Les in school. And he was sitting on a chair, but it was kind of packed in there. It was always packed on 50-cent Tuesday. So like I went in and popped down and sat on his lap, and he let me. He just was like, he's like, well, my pizza's done. Like, you can have my seat. So I was like, all right, And then I seen it. I played basketball. He played basketball. And then the next day, he came to our game. We had a game in Toronto, and he was like, "You feeling okay today?" And I was like, "Yeah. Why wouldn't I be?" And then he was just like, "Because you came in looking a little intoxicated and just sat on my lap, and we don't even know you. I don't even know you like that, you know." Kind of.
I like the aggressiveness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I be?
You know what I mean? I'm
Ask me no questions.
I'm always aggressive, Dave. Super aggressive back then, but no. So like he was good friends with my sister's cousin, Justin Banks. He was real good friends with him, and we all kind of just started hanging out. And then I would go to his games. I mean, he was phenomenal. And people saw us hanging out, and they're like, "Are you guys dating?" And I was just like, "I don't know." Like, and then he was just like, "Yeah." I was like, "You ain't even asked me." Same shit goes on now.
Yes.
Like, we've been married twice now to each other. And he didn't really ask me the first time. And he didn't ask me the second time. So it's just usually like, yeah, that's what we're doing. But
it's just like, you guys married? And you're like, I don't know. And he's like, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, okay. Yeah. But no, we've been together for 21 years now. So it's crazy. And we've been through a lot of shit. But I wouldn't go through it with anybody else but him.
No, I love you guys'
awesome.
Story so much too.
It's funny.
It is funny.
It's
like, I'm
funny,
sure
but
most
it's,
people,
like,
they'd be like, "You're a
weird.
dick for laughing at this." But it's like, you've been together, like, since you were 15.
Mm-hmm.
You, like, are high school sweethearts.
We are.
You had Kellen,
Mm-hmm.
got married,
Got divorced real quick.
got divorced,
Got pregnant with Phoenix.
basically didn't stay away from each other while you
No.
were divorced.
No,
Had
we've never been. That's what,
Mm-mm.
like, even when we went and got divorced, like, Judge Henderson was there, and he was just like, you have to, like, it was real, like, you have to get on a stand and do all that shit. And he was like, "You want to change your last name?" And I was like, "No, why? Like, I earned my last name." And he was like, I said, "He'll be back." I was like, "This is just, we do this all the time." I was like, "It's fine." He was like, and I said, "He'll be back. It's fine. Just go ahead and sign, give him what he wants and sign these papers and get this over with." And right after the divorce court, I said, "You coming over to hang out, like, for a little bit?" And he was like, "MaeLynn, we just got divorced." And I was like, "And?" Like, you know what I mean? That's just how I was. But, I mean, and then, like, a month after we got divorced, ink wasn't even dry on the paper. I got pregnant with Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had needed a ride home from a New Year's Eve party, and he was there, and he stayed with me for about a week. And then that's how that popped off.
And then you got remarried.
Got remarried right before I got pregnant with Johnny Ray, and that's where we're at with that.
Were you guys living together, like,
We were
during that period?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were living together. We were, I mean, like, I think the longest we weren't living together was probably about a year. But he's always, like, if I needed him in that time, he was always there, and vice versa.
And been a great dad.
Phenomenal dad.
Never not a present father.
Never not. There's never been a time, like, I couldn't pick the better person. Like, I have, and I don't knock anybody. I have friends and stuff that, you know, they have fathers,
Piece of shit, baby daddies.
pieces of shit,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like you feel terrible. But him, he's the best. Like, he's great with them, especially the girls. The girls are, like, crazy about him.
The very first time I met him, I thought, this is a good dude.
Oh, he's the best.
Yeah.
He
And
is.
Kellen is a carbon copy
Yeah.
of him.
Now he is. Yeah.
It's wild.
He's just
to
very
me.
fair skinned.
Just
you
light,
know?
light
Just
skin,
light
light
skin.
skin version.
Very light skin version, but he's his dad. He kind of, like, Kellen kind of has my personality a little bit, but he's his dad, you know. But yeah, John's great. I mean, he does everything, and he's the parent. He's the disciplinary. I'm not, which is weird, but it worked. That's how it is. Like,
Well, you're the fuck around and find out parent. You're
Yeah.
like, I'm not gonna stop you from doing the
but
thing.
like
But
they
like,
don't.
you're
they
on your
don't,
fucking own if you do
They
this.
don't cross him.
Mm-mm.
Like, they're like if they fuck up with something, they're like, "Hey, mom, this is what happened. Don't tell dad." So I'm just like, and then if it's like something like really shitty, I'm like, "Now you know I gotta tell him." 'Cause if I don't, or like I'll tell them not to tell him something, and then like Kellen will be on some fuck shit, and then it'll just be like, John will be like, "Well, Kellen told me." I'm like, "See," I'm like, "This is why I don't tell you shit, or this is why I don't do shit." I'm like, "Don't ask me for nothing else, because I told you to. That's supposed to be between us."
Oh, you hungry? I bet you are.
Because that's usually that number one. Like, can we get this? I'm like, nope, because you always snitching on me. You always telling me to your dad. You know, but I mean, John's a great dad. He is. He's the best. But like right now, we've been back. A lot of people don't know that I moved back, but we've been home for almost 2 months now. So it is hard not having him here. He's still in North Carolina, getting stuff squared away with work and waiting to hear back from a couple places up here. So right now it's just it's hard not having him here. We FaceTime and we talk all the time on the phone, and he FaceTimes with the girls. He was here last week or the week before. He was here for one day, and when he left, it was heartbreaking because they cried. He cried, and he was like, I didn't think they were going to get me, but he was like, it's not going to be long. Like, you know, he's just telling them, and they're crying, and I'm just like, and John's like, you okay? I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm just fucking sick of this shit. Like, let's just get it over with, you know? But, I mean, the distance has actually been nice in a way because we've just grown closer together. Like, being with somebody for 20 plus years, you would think that you would...
Where you can't possibly stay away from each other, apparently.
But you can't. You can't. So it's like, and people are like, well, you guys are broke up. I'm like, bro, even when we weren't together, we were together. Like, there's never been a time where, like, he just wasn't around, except for now. I mean, you know, physically, but he's, I mean, and he's nothing like me. Like, he doesn't swear. He doesn't really drink. He's so quiet. He's so quiet. Then there's me. Fuck the police. You know what I mean? Like, it's me. Like,
and
wow.
he's few-worded. Like, very. When he talks, you're like, oh my God.
You talk.
But like, it's just like, he would literally sit here for this whole conversation and not a word would come out. And then like, you'd get something very like poignant out of him. But then that would be it. And done.
Him and I talked a lot. But that night we met, we talked the whole time.
Right.
But what I noticed was that he doesn't really drink, and we were all pretty smashed up. And he was not even getting like annoyed, short-tempered, nothing.
No, it takes a lot for him to be pissed. And when he does get pissed, I've only seen it a few times in life, and I would prefer to keep it that way. But when he does get mad, like, I'm just going to go get in the car, start the car up, and whenever you're ready, meet me at the car. Like, he played in a basketball game back in the day. It was called the Betty Zane down in Martins Ferry. It would have a league and stuff. And, like, his team and this other team, they were, like, playing a championship, but, like, there's a lot of bullshit going on like it usually does. And a fight broke out. I was pregnant with Kellen, and the fight broke out, and I was just like, he was walking off the court. Somebody said something to him, and the next thing I know, I mean, John just grabbed this dude, and he was tagging him. And I was just like, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? And then I was just like, start the car. We're in Martins Ferry. We got to go start the car.
Right.
I'm like, how we're gonna
start the car.
I'm on the phone with my dad. I'm like, listen, if we get arrested, if John gets arrested, I'm going to need you to come down here, because I was like, they're down here. Like, everybody was fighting, not just him, but like he was walking away. I was like, okay, come on, we're leaving. And then he started backpedaling. I was like, no. Like,
right here.
Come over
Stay
here. So then he was like, he was just all frustrated, and I was just like, well, I'm going to go start. I said, hey, I'm going to start the car. And I just went and started the car. And, you know, like, and John used to be a boxer. I wasn't with him when he boxed, but he did. And I seen it that day, because I was just like, I was like, oh my God, I've never seen him hit anybody. But like, when he gets upset, if he gets upset enough, I mean, like I said, I'm like, well, I'm going to go and start the car, because if he gets mad, it's bad. Like, it's pretty bad if he gets mad, because like, he never gets mad. He gets irritated at times, but like, he won't.
But even his irritated is just
not,
like
it's not. Yeah.
Like, he might like suck his teeth and then like walk away.
Yeah.
But it's never.
Or he'll give me the silent treatment. I mean, he's already quiet, but for him to like say nothing, I'm like, oh, so this is what we're doing. Like, we just ain't gonna say shit. For like, you know, you just walk by each other. I'm like, fuck it.
So he's not saying nothing. You're in his ear constantly.
Yeah. Like, I'm the one talking shit. Like, also, you ain't talked to me in 3 days. You know, like, he's just like, I haven't talked to you in 3 days. Ain't said shit in 3 days. Like, I'm keeping track, you know. But that's always been me. And I like, sometimes I don't know how he puts up with me, because I am so.
Could you imagine if you guys are like even a little bit more like the fights
Bitch,
would
please.
be
I wouldn't even date
Something else.
nobody like me.
No.
I'm not saying I'm not great, but I'm just saying I couldn't date nobody with my, I don't want to date nobody with that kickback, you know what I mean?
No.
I'm gonna need you to chill.
But he's the perfect, calm to my storm. There's times when, like even with my weight loss surgery and stuff, like I needed a big support system, and he was supportive. I mean, he's been supportive in times where, like, there's been times where I just wanted, not really like seeked you guys being, my shoulder to lean on. And there's been times when I'm just like fell apart. And he's just like, it's okay. Like I'm right here. And I'm just like, are you? Like, just like, it's like, I mean, he hasn't always been the most open person, but probably within the past couple years though, I mean, he's been.
I give you guys so much credit though, because to go from like we were what, 18, 19 when you had Kellen?
Yeah.
So not only like to be with someone from like 15, but 4 years into your relationship, which is a high school relationship, and you're changing so much. You guys have a child at 19, and then another child 6 years later, another child 6 years later. Those are huge growing points of life. And the fact that like he has put in work to like stay, and then especially the last 2 years, be more communicative with you and like work on things, like that's huge, because he's almost a 40-year-old man. Like for him to make strides to change now is like such a huge thing, because he could just be like, fuck it, you know who I am. Like we've been together for 21 years, like it is what it is.
Right. And there
was
a point where people were just like, you just need to accept how he is. And I'm like, oh, I'm not.
Well, because I think you always knew like that's
he
not
was better
who
than
he
that.
is.
No, but he was always, I was like, you're more than that. Like, it was always more. Like, there's more to us than this. And I mean, I had a lot of growing to do myself, but, and there's been times where we have sat down and talked with each other, like, you want to quit? Because I'm tired, because there was points where we were struggling talking to each other. We were struggling communicating. We were having a shitty time. We just weren't on the same page at all.
Do you care if we talk about?
No. That's fine.
So, and this is again another thing that I love so much about your relationship is in between
the divorce,
like
that year split.
John had another child, and I remember you telling me about this, and I was so blown away with like I love you and you're my best friend and I know your character, but like you don't know how someone's going to react in a situation like this. No. And the fact that you were like, okay, like, yeah, I understand, and like, what do we need to do for this child? And then you welcomed this child into your home and into your family. Like, holy shit. Yeah. That is something that I don't think very many people could do. No. I'm not saying that they wouldn't say that they're going to do it, right. But he was the same age.
Yes, a month older. A month older than Phoenix.
I'll never forget that. You're like, yeah, I just found out that John's had another kid, like right now, today. But it was happening.
Like at the time, like he really didn't know, and I remember seeing how hurt he was to tell me, and I was just like, he was like, I just want to know if you're okay, and I said, are you okay? And he was like, I'm worried about you. And I said, well, I'm more worried about you because that's a lot for somebody to hear. And, when you're just kind of like blindsided by some things and but for me, it wasn't, at the time, it was like, it wasn't a time for me to consider my feelings at that moment, because for me, it wasn't about how I was feeling. It was about how he was feeling. How could I be there for him at that time? Because he wasn't, and it was a lot for him to take in at the time himself too. So for me, it was just like, I'm going to put my feelings on hold right now.
And you also had just gotten done doing all that work of like, we want to be together. We love each other. We're going to work through anything that gets thrown at us.
Yeah, because at the whole time, like that whole time I was pregnant with Phoenix, like we didn't get together until after I had Phoenix. So like that whole time we were arguing a lot. We were fighting a lot. And then we got to a point where like, we're tired of fighting. I said, I'm tired of fighting. Like, I'm exhausted. Like, we ain't never fought like this, you know, like it was just a constant back and forth. But when that happened, it was like, so for me, listen, like, I'm a Christian and everything, but I went and taught, like, I don't bother God much because I feel like he got enough on his plate. He don't got time for my shit. So, but for at the time, I was just like, yo, what am I supposed to do with this? How do I deal with this? But then it was like, at the time, it was a no-brainer because I was like, I love him. And I would never make him choose between me and his child. No matter how that child came about, I would never make him choose, because in order for me to be with him and love him as much as I do, I have to love his child regardless. Like, that has nothing, like, how he came about has nothing to do. My feelings towards the situation has nothing to do with him. Like, he's a part of my husband. He's my kids' brother. You know what I mean? Like, and that's how I felt about it. You know, but at the time, like, my biggest thing was like, how can I be there for him? How can I, you know, love him enough to help him through this situation? And then I dealt with my feelings later, and he dealt with them later. You know, we did that. You know, he had to face that here and there, you know, but there's never been a time where, like, like I said, there was times when we sat down with each other and we were like, look, aren't you tired of fighting? Aren't you tired of arguing? Aren't we tired of this? Like, you ready to quit? And then we would talk about quitting. We would talk about walking away from each other, how we're going to raise the kids and we're going to be all right. We're going to be cool. And no matter who, we just wanted each other to be happy. But then when it came time to pull the plug, neither one of us could.
So what do you think is attributed to you and John being able to, like, have these really, like, raw and open conversations with one another that's resulted in you guys having, like, a real relationship that is successful?
I mean, I think it's more the respect that we have for each other, the love that we have for each other, and for the kids. It's not always about the kids, though, because we've always said, like, they're going to be fine no matter what. Like, we're always going to be family regardless, whether we're together or not. Like, it's always going to be about them. But when it comes to just he and I, because I think some people stay a family for the kids. We don't. Like, we're okay if right now we were like, hey, you got to go, I got to go, we could do it. But, like, we've just been so wrapped up into each other, just the love and respect that we have for each other. Like, we just never been able to fully let go and just keep it moving. And, like, here recently, like, with all the moving and stuff we've done, I just think that our connection got stronger. Our love has grown more.
And that was another huge test for your relationship.
Absolutely. Like, you don't know how much you can take until you actually are presented with some things. And, like, I think a lot of people were just like, I could never. And I'm like,
that's
you
what
don't.
you
It's
say
what you say
that.
now. That's what you say now. You could never. But
that's part of the problem.
Right.
It's like, absolutely, just automatically that's your mindset.
Yeah, like I could never.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, we weren't together at the time because we weren't. We were split up. We had been split up for a year. We were getting divorced, for crying out loud. And then when it happened, I was just like, oh, okay. Like, what do you need from me?
Yeah.
And he was just like, are you okay? You know, like, I think he expected me to go off, but I didn't.
You were so calm about it. Like,
I was.
I mean, you never even, like, I think I was more, like, reactive about it than even you were. Because I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
it was until a fight 6 months later.
Yeah.
But also, like, you know, you're pregnant.
Yeah.
You're about to have a child. Like,
myself.
You don't want to put that on her. And then, you know, postpartum.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, everything that I needed, everything that for Phoenix or at the time or whatever. Like I said, we were fighting a lot in the beginning of my pregnancy. A lot. And it was just, like, too much. And then, because we weren't together. And I was just like, you know, and we were still young. I mean, I was 24, I think, when I had Phoenix, maybe. Like, roughly 23, 24 when I had her. And, you know, John's a few years older than me. He was, like, 27. But, you know, I was living on my own, taking care of Kellen, and I was like, I'm about to turn up this summer.
No,
You're not. Like 3 weeks after New Year's, I was like, oh, this is about to be me. It's 2011. I'm about to fuck it up. No,
Nope.
ma'am. No, ma'am. I said, well, what in the hell? I mean, my parents were like, I was like, I'm pregnant. They're like, by who? I was like, what kind of question? And I was like, John. My dad was like, aren't you divorced?
Mhm.
I was like,
We
we
like,
are.
Bold of you to
Right.
be the one to cast
Right.
stones.
Right. Mr. Yeah. So like
Mr.
it was
Johnson.
I was just like, yeah, he's like, I didn't know people were doing that. I didn't know people were getting divorced. And then, oh, you just got divorced last month. Didn't realize that that's what was going on. And I was just like,
Like,
well, yeah, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, well, we ain't people, Dad.
Yeah. So, but no, like I don't regret any of this. I mean, I would prefer not to go through some of the shit we've gone through, but honestly, I don't regret it because it makes us who we are. And I love who we are now.
mm-hmm.
Like, I just told him last night because we were like FaceTime and I'm watching a show. I'm like, I've tried to hang up with him repeatedly. He's probably going to watch this too, by the way. Don't take it personal, Les. I was like trying to watch New Amsterdam and I'm like glued. So I'm like, well, I'll let you go. And he was just like, I can't hear you. And then we start talking for another 15 minutes. And then I'd say, well, you know, you probably want to go ahead and watch your show. And then he's like, what'd you say? I'm like, how the fuck can't you hear me? So, but we would just keep talking, you know what I mean? But like, I'm just like, so like I'll hang up with him and then I find myself texting him and I'm just like, I think I put like, I love you like 15 times in one text message. And he's just like, I'm like, I couldn't love you more now. Couldn't love you more now. I couldn't miss you more now. Like, you know, but even when I do see him, like when he got off the plane just for that one day, I was like, oh my God, he's here. And he was just like, stop being so crazy. You know, like John's just like, he's just always like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I just missed you. Like, you know, so we're kind of like, almost kind of like how we were in high school. It's almost like, that's just that same old, like.
Are you guys prepared for like, because Kellen is 16.
Yeah.
Like, how does this hit you and John that like he's 16 years old, so he's right where you guys like started basically, like he's right in between both of your ages.
So so Kellen, thankfully Kellen is not like I was at 16.
Yep.
Let's just put that out there. So Kellen is I don't know, like Kellen made me grow up a lot. Like we look at him and Kellen's like, you know, Kellen's just like very focused on his grades. I mean, right now he's rolling with a 4.0, which I'm proud of him. I mean, he's always like, and I'm like, you don't like no girls? Or he's like, I don't know. Like, he's like, I mean, I like them, but like, he's like, I'm trying to get this money when I graduate. I
Good
said,
on him. Worry about that other shit later.
Right? Because it was just like, so like, Kellen was just like, when I go back home, find me a nice, wholesome white girl. And I was just like, oh, God.
You're your mother's.
I was like,
You're your mother's child.
right. Definitely is. But, you know, like, I don't got nothing against it. I'm just like, all right, as long as her parents are straight, you know, we can keep it pushing, you know. But, I mean, looking at Kellen now, like, Kellen's just, I mean, he's a junior. He's going to be 17 in 2 months. And I'm just
so
like,
glad that he's not like we were.
oh, my God.
I just think we should make sure that he knows that white girls just ain't more wholesome just off
Right,
of it.
right. But you know what? It's like, that's his preference. Like, it's so like, he's like, you know, I prefer. I'm like, dude, prefer what you want. I'm like, because listen, I was like, I said, your mom had a preference too. I said, what I preferred is not what I fell in love with. I was like, so let me just tell you that, you know, but he's just, my son is like, he has my sense of humor. So he's always joking and saying like goofy shit. Like he'll be like, oh, how was the 1900s? And I'm like, quit fucking saying stuff like that. I was like, dude, I was born in the 80s, the late 80s at that. I was
Late
like,
1900s.
Yeah, like talking about the late 1900s. He's like, you were born in like the late 1900s. I'm like, don't do that.
Man, I never even thought about that.
Man, right. Nobody thinks that he does. So, but no, we're super proud of him. I mean, he is driven. He's driven on that, on how, I mean, he's so more focused on school than anything else, which is perfect. Because I'm like, now the girls, I don't know, because like Phoenix, when we first moved back, we seen a little boy walking down the street. He was a cute little boy. I mean, Phoenix broke her neck. I was like, yo. I was like, you okay? And
Like,
she was
huh?
just like, huh? And I was like, I mean, neck broke. Like, I was like, yo.
Okay, so she's gonna be more like us, unfortunately.
But but she's so naive. She's the sweet one. She's the one
like
who
your
doesn't want to
little-
hurt anybody's feelings.
She's your little
and-
flower child.
But
Like,
then you
she's-
got the baby. You know, just Billy Badass.
Listen,
like
she had me fucking cracking up. I forgot to tell you this. They were over making Valentine's Day boxes, and like Phoenix is asking me the name of the cats, and Johnny Ray goes, "Hey, Phoenix, look, it's Blackie over here.
Oh
It's
my
Blackie.
God.
This Blackie. Look at Blackie." And I'm like, "Who the fuck is?" I'm like, "That's Gabby." She goes, "This Blackie." And I was like, "Oh my God!" I was like, "You're right.
Listen,
I know it already."
She's that. Like, and it's so funny
Oh.
because like Johnny Ray is just starting to look at color towards people. So like she calls my mom, who's black, grandma with the brown skin, and my white grandmother, who's still living, my 86-year-old grandma, is grandma with the white skin. And I'm like, where did this come from? Like, I've never introduced you to them like that. Like, I don't understand where this came from. And she's just like, it's grandma with the brown skin. Or I'm like, I hope she don't say this like out in front of other people, but that's just how she feels.
I mean,
about
even
it.
if she does, it's like it's a descriptive term.
Very,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
but I mean, really, she'd be like Grandma Sandra.
yeah. No,
Grandma Joey,
well,
like-
like my mom, my grandmother, everybody called because they're the great grandkids, are just Gigi. But my mom is just grandma. She was just grandma at one point, but then all of a sudden she was like grandma with the brown skin. I'm like, what? Yeah.
Now, another thing that I'll bring up, because we had talked about this before, is like your experience being biracial, because you are 50-50 split.
50-50. That's me.
And, John is black,
Yes.
and he has, that his experience, you have two experiences.
Yeah.
And how does having those experiences, given the social political climate, how does that make you guys feel about raising biracial children? Because they're still
biracial.
considered biracial.
Yeah. And they look 50-50, but they're not.
Yeah.
Kellen is the one who looks 50-50 the most. But
Yeah. Whose white
it's-
baby is this?
right. and that's what like, I mean, so my experience with racism is, in a sense, it's completely different from John's, because I've experienced racism
Both sides.
Absolutely.
And
Like, you don't get,
Northeastern racism
Man.
versus Deep South.
oh, listen, man, I've experienced it in the South, and I was just like appalled. I think I was more hurt because at the time I think I felt like black people were so very much so experienced more racism than white people did. But at the time, not even think, because I'm always been considered a black woman. I'm nobody till I was living in North Carolina. Nobody ever in their life has said, "Look at that white woman there." Except for North Carolina. They did call me a white girl in North Carolina, and I was like, I have never
Clutch my pearls.
Oh, I said, well, I declare, like, what?
I am a black woman.
So if you started talking like that, they're like, "See, told you."
Yeah, right.
Because she's white.
Right. So they was like, hey, white girl, at work. And I was like, I'm looking around like,
Getting the Phoenix.
yeah, like,
Break her neck.
and they were like, you. And I was like, what about me? Are you a Lumbee, which is a tribe down there, like Native American? I was like, I'm not a Lumbee. You must be Puerto Rican. No. Well, you definitely a white girl. No. I said, you look white. Don't you call me white. I'm a Lumbee. I'm like, oh, my bad. You know what I mean? Like, my bad. So like for me,
Not to mention, she called you white girl, then asked you if you were all these other
other
nationalities.
nationalities. Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, because it was like, so like for me, like I've had black people feel like, because like, I don't know, it's just a stereotype where like darker complected black people feel like, lighter skinned black people feel like they're better than them. It's not true. My mom is very much so dark skinned. I came from a black woman.
Mm-hmm.
Like my mom is dark. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people don't realize my mom is my mom because of how dark skinned she is.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's white, but my dad's not very white. My
No.
dad looks biracial.
Yes, he does.
But he's not at all. Like, he just tans really well. But I've had an experience where, like, I had somebody tell me to my face in high school, this was like freshman year, that they hated me. And I was always nice to this person. Hated me because I was light skinned, that the boys liked me. And I was like, I thought to myself, like, you raggedy bitch. Like, and that's how I felt at the time. But, like, looking back, I'm like, dude, like, I was always nice to you. And, like, the fact that you hate me is a you problem, not my problem.
And crazy that she hated you because of your skin color.
Because of my skin color. And this was like black woman to black woman.
Right.
And that's where I never understood, like, that racism amongst your own people. I never knew I could be profiled against my own
Colorism.
people. Yeah, against my own people. Like, we're doing this? Like, you know, you have nice hair, or you have, I'm like, bro, don't do that. You know, and I was, when we moved to North Carolina, I was worried about my girls. Because predominantly black area, my girls are very much so light-skinned girls with green eyes, curly light brown hair. Like, I was worried about it. Like, I was worried about them being picked on. Like, and sometimes, like, you know, back in slave days, like, the some black people that were light-skinned, they worked in the house. You know how many times I've been called, like, a house nigger all the time, like, by black people, by myself. I mean, just to my face. Like, you know, it's hurtful. It's disgusting. And then you got the other side of racism, where you got white folks telling you, like, that'll put their hands on you and be like, you know, you stay here, or, like, you back up, or, you know, like, don't put your hands on me, don't touch me, don't touch my hair. Or, like, you got those certain white people that are like, I'm not racist, I have black friends, I have 2 black friends. I'm like, bro, the fact that you can count them.
The fact that you feel the need to announce it.
Yeah, because it's always like, I've never been racist, I've never felt, you know.
But you have,
But
and
you
you
have,
don't realize
because you
it.
don't realize it. And, like, I don't do, like, for me, at this point in the game, racism, people that say certain things, I'm just like the Karens and shit, like, I'm laughing at them because you sound ridiculous. You look ridiculous. Like, we're living in a time now where this shouldn't even be relevant. Racism is taught, period. It's not something that you're born with. It is taught. Very much so. Like, and my son, I worry about him because, like, I tell him, I'm like, listen, you have to watch who you're around. And my son has a lot of white friends. And I'm like, dude, watch where you're going. Like, he wanted to go to a party once when we were living in Missouri with, like, some kids from the baseball team. And I was just like, where? And he was like, oh, it's, like, out at somebody's land. No. Why not? No, you can't. Because I don't know where you're at. I don't know who you're around. I mean, and there was like hazing issues going on. Like, people were, at the time, like, people were being lured out, you know, like, black people were being lured out by friends. And then next thing you know, there were hangings that were happening a few years ago, but nobody was talking about it. You know, like, hangings.
Yeah.
Like, it would crush me to find out that something like that happened to my son and I wasn't there. Or, like, these black men that are being killed by police and screaming for their moms. That would kill me, to know that my kid is screaming for me and I'm not there. You know, like, so we kind of walk through it where it's like, always be aware of where you're at. Always let somebody know where you're at. Don't do no fuck shit that you don't know nothing about. Don't let nobody talk you into no shit that you don't know nothing about. You know, and like I said, Kellen's he don't have the social life that we did, you know, but back when we were kids though, like, nobody was really pointing that out to me. Nobody was really like, you're my black friend, or, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't really like that. I mean, there were times where it had happened, but it was always like,
we had, like, microaggressions, and it was that, like, like, just to give an example, because I can't think of how I'm going to describe it. Like, I remember mom pulling me aside back at like the CCC.
Yeah.
And, you know, she was like, had to give me the talk, you know, redbirds stay with redbirds and bluebirds stay with bluebirds. I shit you not. This is the exact talk I had because this is real. Now, and also because my mother's father is a black man.
Yeah,
he just happens to be light skinned.
Right, but that wasn't presented very well. It wasn't like,
so
people knew. If you knew them, you knew. But if you didn't,
well, and also you were the first person to ever tell me that I was of mixed race.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
your grandfather's black. And she was just like, no, he's Heinz 57. I'll never forget you saying
yeah,
that.
because my mom always said
he
we're
was
Heinz 57.
Just a mix of everything.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
You're like, yeah, but he's black though.
Yeah. Like you're missing a very
important
thing.
Huge.
Yeah, he might also be Chinese. I don't know. But he's black.
Right. So that was kind of what the talk, and I was encouraged to be friends with everybody. Like everybody, and to treat everybody equally. However, I was discouraged from dating outside of my race. And I was very young, and that was what I was told. And
man, I
don't know, like I want to say that it didn't affect me, but I definitely think it did.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
I mean, of course, like I had black friends and like girls and guys, but I definitely think it steered me
away from
it,
something more.
Like when you tell let's just say it was probably Phoenix's age, like a 12-year-old child, redbirds stay with redbirds and bluebirds stay with bluebirds, and you're like, oh yeah, the redbirds do stay with redbirds. Like I think about that.
Bloods and
like
Crips.
that's
right. That part.
It's fucked up. It's fucked up that it happened. And it's not right. Like, and I'm not going to, like, I'm not going to, like, hold a grudge against my mom for that, because that's her internalized racism from.
That's what she was taught.
Coming from her own family, which is fucked up and, like, super deep. I mean, like, her dad, like, it wasn't until damn near his deathbed where he got real honest about everything.
Yeah.
But that's so terrible that those are the microaggressions within our community. And it's like shitty that we have to sit here and go, well, I'm grateful that those were the microaggressions and not like well, maybe there were people that were like snatch their kids up and bring them a little closer. I mean, I'm sure people with the Catholic school and shit.
Oh yeah.
But like,
well, and if they didn't do it in public, they might have done it when they got home.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's just shitty to think like we did have an
don't
eclectic
want anybody
friend
to know
group.
they're racist.
Right. Right. And I mean, my son, and people ask me, like, would you feel some type of way if your son brought a white girl home? I was like, no, I wouldn't care. I don't give a fuck who he brings home. My thing is like, what does that person or that girl's parents think of my son? Because that's where you gotta look at, like, what do they think of him, you know? Because what I don't want is for that to be a problem. Like, for it to be an issue that my son's biracial, predominantly black, and somebody say something, now we have a problem.
Or, like, the fucked up things that, unfortunately, we hear about happening, where, like, you know, like you said, you can't be there to protect him.
I can't.
But somebody's drunk-ass uncle comes home and finds out that his niece is with a black boy.
Oh yeah, and then it's a problem.
Something goes down.
Like when I was living in Toronto, at one point my son was playing with these white kids down there. He was little, and they went into the little white boy's home, and they made Kellen leave, and said he couldn't come in because he was black.
I'd have snapped. Listen,
if they'd have showed me where that house was, I mean, flipped out. I was like, what? Like, you don't. I remember one time, we went in another time, and I didn't do anything, and I still kick myself in the ass about it to this day because it really bothered me. We were on Big Red played in a playoff game or something, like up in Canton, and sure enough.
Don't send that one. I gotta edit a face.
Oh,
sorry.
you dirty bitch. I can see it from right
Okay,
here.
It's okay. It's okay.
You want me to just crop her?
Yeah, just
but
crop
you can
her.
definitely put that up there.
Okay. We got to talk about that. Okay, but real quick. Okay.
So we were on the bus, and this white couple was sitting in the front. We were getting ready to get off. Well, Kellen was probably about 7 or 8 years old, and he goes to get up and walks off the bus. Well, this white man puts his hand on Kellen, like, back up. And I was, like, frozen because I was like, did he just put his hands on my kid and didn't, you know? Oh my God, I was on fire. But I didn't say anything because I was like, if I do, we're gonna turn this whole bus is about to be flipping out. You know what I mean? Like, and I always try to be a step ahead of myself and think about certain things and not before I act. You know what I mean? Because I'm always like, well, what could possibly go on, or what could possibly happen, or
was there a part of you that wanted to like believe like that wasn't racially motivated, or did you just know?
I knew
like,
it was racially motivated because he felt like, well, I'm in front of you, even though his wife was moving slow as fuck. Like, it's like, I'm in front of you, you're no better than me, like, you know. But like, I mean, and even like at work and stuff, I've never really experienced like racism or nothing like that at work here and there. I know John has when we first moved to Missouri. I mean, when we moved to Willow Springs, like, the whitest of the whitest towns I've ever seen in my life. Like, we moved in and everybody knew that we lived there.
Did you say it was around Springfield, down towards like the south?
Yeah, like West Plains, Willow Springs is down that way. And my husband worked for a company. He was the black plant manager, but he knew more than everybody in the company. He knew his product. He knew everything, and they felt threatened. Like, the guy that was running the company, he felt threatened because he felt like if I let John have so much leadway, he's going to take my spot.
Right.
And I'm not going to let that happen.
Instead of correctly utilizing the person who's killing it.
Right.
Because then maybe you also get a promotion.
Right. Right. But we're they don't think of it that way. You got this young black guy coming in, and he knows way more than you've ever thought of. And it's just like I know he had a question. They were like, well, what makes you so qualified? He said, because I've been doing this for the past 17 years. He said, and I know way more than you guys. Or he was like, you don't know how to do this. You guys don't know how to do that. He knew how to do everything.
Which, I mean, I know there's going to be people out there that are going to be like, oh, you're just thinking this way.
No.
If you've never experienced it or seen it.
Yeah,
like,
you don't.
Because there was a time in my life where there were a lot of, and it wasn't until I dated he who shall not be mentioned.
Man, don't do that.
I didn't realize that was my deepest taste of racism.
Bubba!
Oh, I know. Wait, look, I know.
Oh.
Mom just sent me that.
Oh, Bubba.
But that was my deepest taste of racism and seeing that. But when, like, if a white man sat down for John's job interview and said, I have 17 years of experience.
That's Key Club.
Yes, it is.
I went to
my mother was a chaperone at that. That's hilarious.
Bro,
Mom
listen,
was
real
a
shit.
chaperone.
It definitely was a chaperone.
She wasn't
like,
chaperoning shit. She was probably
drinking at the
herself.
bar.
Providing
Drinking at the bar.
Like, oh, honey, that's so. You want me to take a picture of you while you grind on his little pee-pee? Like,
Yeah.
come here.
Mom was,
She said chaperone. I thought you said champagne.
nah. Listen, Mom was always. I'm like, what are you doing here? She's like, I get a good picture with my girls.
Chaperone.
Yeah.
Chaperone. Mom came through with some heat.
I have those.
Okay, so wait, let's
talk
we're gonna
about
lighten
this
this, and
picture.
we got to talk about because this is
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph.
first and foremost, Johnny Ray.
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
day.
Johnny Ray is the only one that looks
She's
like
identical to you.
Man.
Yeah.
So
She's the only
this
one.
was the night. Which birthday was this?
This was
of
my
yours?
18th birthday.
Okay, so this was your 18th birthday.
That's the day I went.
Were-
I
is
peed
this
in
Maxwell?
somebody's.
Were you guys creating your own filters with
Pennsylvania.
these
No,
these
there's no-
photos? What
no.
are these dots?
That's a textured.
That's a
textured
textured
picture.
photo.
That's like the.
That's
Okay.
a
These
that's
are
a
light-
instant cameras.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my god!
I always got, like,
Mom's
the-
sending me dumb shit now.
Boy. Yeah.
So wait, what was
So-
that?
So okay, so that's my 18th birthday.
You
My
drunk as
house,
fuck?
yeah, I was on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Okay, it was Pennsylvania.
So that's very unsupervised. My mom was not around for that
Why did
but
we
there
do
was
that to
alcohol
your
there.
hair?
because you guys were
Well,
on
you
some,
see the tip of the alcohol.
Yeah.
bottle.
I'm pretty sure that's a Grey Goose bottle.
Looks like it.
Yeah, definitely does
Please
from
look
the cap.
please look at that, my man.
Oh yeah, that's
My
crazy.
mom said it was
Where is she getting these?
because these are pictures I took because we used to run around with our disposable fucking
Yeah,
cameras,
disposable cameras
and
are
that's
the
where
best.
these pictures are from.
So we, we were playing around. Like there was a select few of us. Boy, I already seen that picture.
You seen it? You
Yeah,
seen what I'm about to send over here?
That's fine.
This is a great one. Just
this is what
make
makes
sure
us
you
who
crop
we
out
are.
these pictures.
Yeah, this is what makes us.
Make
who we
sure
are.
just no faces. No faces.
So we were drinking, obviously. Hence the hair. Like, for whatever reason, I don't know what they were doing.
Where else did we go this night? Because I remember
We went to Carly's because I peed in
pissed
the driveway. I had to go to the bathroom.
Bitch,
She wouldn't let me come in
listen,
there.
fucking wait. I fucking have a picture of that.
Yeah, there was steam
because
coming
the
up.
steam
It was
was
cold.
coming out of it. I fucking have
I mean,
a
I'm
picture of that.
squatting down, taking a piss, laughing, and
she was
taking my piss.
pissed.
And there's
Pissed.
just fucking smoke coming up. Like, it's just, like, they're like, "What is it? Is this something wrong with the picture?" I'm like, "No, that's steam because I was peeing in the driveway."
Speaking of filters,
yeah,
because Carly
that
wouldn't
was a
let you in the
naturally
house.
created filter.
yeah.
Good enough.
So
Just blur her face out a little bit. Just hit that mark up. Just because I don't want to fucking hear anybody's fucking mouth.
Yeah,
post
he's
that
feeling
picture
some
of
type
me,
of way.
and I didn't want that. Fuck you. I didn't want to put your fucking face on my podcast anyways.
But that so we were drinking, and then we decided, like, I think you were driving.
Sounds
Somebody
about right.
was driving because it wasn't me.
It was me
But
driving.
yeah. Because you weren't much of a
Gotcha.
drinker, but we were dropping people off, and I couldn't get in. Carly, I don't know if she wouldn't let me in.
She wouldn't let you in the
She
house.
wouldn't let me in.
because
Oh, because her mom was asleep,
she
and she wouldn't let me in. So I was like, well, fuck it, I'm pissing in the driveway. So I sure did, and then Sarah gets the instant camera and.
Oh, do you remember the
Takes a picture.
disposables and you had to?
Yeah.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
constantly at CVS getting
Yeah,
this shit
so
developed.
so
Constantly.
that's and then that was climbing on my dining room table
Your
here.
mom probably would have beat you if
Oh,
she
she'd
knew
have
what
been
you were
mad.
doing.
She'd been mad that we were in there drinking and didn't offer her anything. That's what she'd been.
That
mad
was the
about.
best though. After parties and then getting your pictures back. Like,
Oh yeah, like and you would have to wait though. Like
Kids will never
Oh,
yeah.
understand
this
the
was
pleasure. This is
this
stupid.
is stupid. Yeah, getting it. Go.
Your,
Get it.
your face lets you know that
Yeah.
you're getting
Look
it.
how nice. Man, I miss those boobs a little bit. I was just telling John the other day, I was like, I need my boobs picked up a little bit. He was like,
She
picked
said,
up? I'm like, yeah, they need picked up. But yeah, that's stupid.
Well, you know who to talk to.
Yeah. Also, wait, can we go back to those pictures? Because I just want to discuss the fucking tanning bed bullshit. Oh, Bubby. Well,
Yeah.
we'll talk about
Bubba.
Bubba too, because that was
Huh?
nope, not me. I mean, I tanned a little bit, but
You used to tan all the time. That's me being that.
look,
That's not even what my winter.
look how like yellowy
everybody was
over
tanning.
tanned is, like
Spray
tan as
tan.
spray tan,
Yeah, people were tan. Like they would
dirty
tan.
spray
Like
tan.
they were. Everybody was at Intrigue tanning like a week or two before.
Bitch, a week or two we would
Before-
get month passes,
Month passes and go-
every day.
Yeah, and go through it.
every single day.
Go through it. I'm like, man, you guys look pretty dark here. And it's December, but okay.
Yeah, because of the fucking dances.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
But I mean, we were always having a good time at the dances and stuff. Like, just,
Are you ready for Phoenix to do this shit?
I don't know. I just know it's going to be expensive because she don't have a best friend like I had that had all the dresses that we wore the same sizes. So, like, Sarah would wear
all that
a dress
shit.
to one dance, and I'm like, can I
Next
wear that
one.
to the next one? Let me
Which
get
these
that.
kids now, if you told them they had to share,
Oh,
or
my
like their
God.
friend wanted to wear the same dance, the same
same
dress
dress
to
to a
a
different
dance at
dance.
the same school,
Oh.
pandemonium.
And I'm
We
not
didn't care.
spending like, they spend thousands on these dresses.
Dude, like a base
God.
dress now, I think is like
$700-800
base.
No,
We went to
about
like
to hit Marketplace up on Facebook and find some
Yep.
shit.
Seen Goodwill, right?
Okay,
but like
Man.
it's
You got a
also-
budget. It's $50.
It's
Right.
also really tough. Like I could totally understand it because like you want your kid to have nice things. And you don't want
You
them to
do.
be left out. But also like we're not going to go in credit card debt like fucking
Right.
Bob and Karen.
And
Because
that's-
their kids got to have everything.
And that's teaching
Everything.
them terrible habits.
man.
Like, hey, we're not going to be able to eat right this month, but you're going to have this nice dress.
Right, but we're gonna go get this dress.
Like I'm not saying I'm like the pinnacle of like financial goodness here, but I can always say like I didn't care. Like I
Right.
was about like $7,500 max for a dress. That was what I felt comfortable with, and it was like not that beaded bullshit.
right.
Back then.
I mean, but you weren't going to those to the wedding places either. They're going to these wedding shops. I don't know. There's just more shit. Is that Kyle? It sure is.
Truthfully, when I was going to the high school dances, I don't even think the dresses had all that like glitter and
they didn't.
metal.
They didn't.
None of that was on
No,
there.
they didn't. They weren't really like. You could go to Cachet. You could go to
Cachet was the shit.
She had a lot of
A
stuff
lot
from
of my
like
dresses
or
came from Cachet.
Express, like so. Yeah, they were spending $75 to $100 on a dress, but you know, and
that seems okay.
that was reasonable back then, you know. But now it's like everybody's dress got to be bedazzled. And
2 times, Mom made me go to like E&E.
Yeah,
and get like a beaded dress 2 fucking times, and I was just like,
and they're heavy.
I don't even like the look of them.
Yeah, like they're just so.
Like,
It's
can you just
too
get a
much.
regular ass dress? What's
Right.
happening right now?
I mean, and I think that dress from us for the Key Club picture, that's from Charlotte Russe, I think, is where I went to and got a dress.
bitch, you remember your prom dress our senior year?
Yeah, I got it off of a porn site.
And it was
I
beautiful,
hope-
but
I
we didn't
hope-
know that it was see-through.
We didn't know. I hope that mom is not trying to send those pictures over.
Oh, they're coming.
Because
They're coming.
mom is like, well, we can tape your nipples, and I was like, we can't.
We did. No,
we
did
did.
we did.
We had to because you could see right.
And then
through
you
it.
had to wear shorts.
I had to wear shorts underneath my dress because my slit was like all the way up here.
It was such a pretty, like
It was
online
pretty.
too.
It didn't look like it did when I got it. I was like,
It didn't look like it was made to be ripped off on a porn set.
yeah.
Well-
Yeah. And when I got it, I was like, fuck. I was like, so how are we gonna work this out?
Well, thanks, Mom.
Uh,
Come to the rescue.
Man, I mean, she hooked it up because I was like, you can see everything. And like, I think I hiked my shorts up enough to where you couldn't see it in the picture.
Because then you get, who yelled at you at the dance?
Coach D.
Odd coming from him.
But
Odd.
But that's because Buddy we were doing a lot that dance.
I know.
But he came and like tapped me on the shoulder. He's like, tell Kyle to get off the ground. I was like, you gotta get up. I was like, we can't do this like out here. I was like,
Tell Kyle to get off the ground.
he's like, tell him he gotta get up. I was like, you gotta get up because they're gonna put us out if you don't get off the ground. So he's like in a back bend and I'm just over him like getting it, you know. And then here's like, I was like, oh, we're in trouble. I was like, so, but I mean, but we always had a good time though.
And the girls will never experience anything because they won't be allowed to experience anything like that.
But I mean, we always had the nicest dance. We always had our dances were always packed. And then, but I didn't go. I went to one dance at Indian Creek one time. That was when homecoming. That was my freshman year. But other than I never went, and it was awkward.
You never went with Kenny?
Just to homecoming.
Just
to homecoming. Never went back. I was like, this is the worst music. Uh-oh. What do you see, Butter?
Did you see the phone? I'm not going to touch you with it. Did you go to dances?
I went to a couple.
Not
They were
really your
okay.
thing.
Because you went to Weir.
Yeah.
Right? You guys probably had some decent shit going on. But
They
not
were
when
fun.
when you get to those, like, when you get to, like Indian Creek, like, there was a lot of country music being played. And I was like, what the fuck is going on out here?
Y'all line dancing?
Right. And
Did you guys have a
sometimes they
senior
were.
dance?
What do you mean?
Like where it was just the only seniors? We had like a senior, I don't know what they called it, like dinner or something, and then they
No,
danced.
we didn't do that shit.
No, there would have been like riots.
Yeah.
Are you kidding
I
me?
only went, I mean.
Riots for what? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Because it would have been like us, like, by the time anybody's a senior, we fucking hated each other.
At some point. I
Like,
think we just
there
started
were-
to grow apart a little bit. But like freshman year was probably the best year we had.
Freshman year, we
we-
got along with everybody.
We
Everybody
hung
was
out with
so,
the seniors. That's why.
and then they got pissed.
And then everybody was salty. Were you guys hanging out with these freshmen? We're like, you know. they're just being
Meanwhile,
cute.
if Phoenix ever loses her goddamn mind and hangs out with some senior boy, I'm throat chopping him.
Listen, she ain't got to worry about it because John already said he was like, I got this 9 in the safe.
Oh well, yeah, because he was a senior boy with
All
a
right.
freshman girl.
Oh
He
man,
knows.
I want to do the bad boy scene.
Oh
You know what
my
I'm talking
God,
about?
yes, yes,
Right.
yes.
With
Like
the drunk uncle shit.
Yeah, so bad.
Oh my God.
I know we're not that close, but if I could just come over that day.
Just
Hell yeah.
You're like your crazy white uncle's here.
Right. That man embarrassing. What's your name, Reggie? Who the fuck? Yeah. But I mean, like, I don't think John would be too embarrassed. I would like to think he wouldn't be.
I think he'd just be straight to the point, to be
Yeah.
honest.
He would be like, so I'm driving you guys around. And I'd be like, oh my God.
We also were like an unsupervised
very
generation.
much so unsupervised. Repeatedly unsupervised. You would think
How
like
old
now,
were you? How old were you the first time that you got like that left it, like especially after school, because it was at like you're on your own after school?
Well, my mom worked afternoon turn, so me and Mocha were always alone. I wasn't at home much because I was either hanging out at your house or with my grandparents for the most part. But my sister used to get in trouble often because Mocha had friends that she was kicking it with. Like everybody, like our house was, my mom's house was constantly packed. They used to have fights at our house at night after the football game.
I remember.
I remember
we would
walking
come over and get
home.
popcorn and sit on that stone wall.
Yeah.
And
I would go home. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on over here? I mean, packed, backyard stacked. I'm like, God damn it.
the first.
How old is she?
Mocha is 37.
Okay.
Wait, yeah.
So
Mocha's
she was
37.
a junior.
So she was
were
a junior.
freshman, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mocha was a junior when we were freshmen.
The first house party that I ever went in high school was it
ours.
your house on Pennsylvania, or were you in
Yeah. No.
And I remember getting dropped off, and there were people
Everywhere.
in the streets,
In the
the
front
whole
yard.
sidewalk, the front
backyard.
yard. Couldn't even
you
get
couldn't-
through the house.
No. Like, and my
The
mom
basement was packed.
Everybody smoking weed downstairs.
That was the first time I
Because my
ever
mom
had.
was like, I remember my mom saying some shit, but then my mom would like exit stage left.
Your mom literally stood
And
in
I'd be
the
like-
kitchen, made an announcement,
Made
something
an
about
announcement
pussy
like-
by the pound.
Yeah, like there's
something.
pussy by the pound in here, but ain't nobody fucking. Bye. And left. And I was just like,
And then she just like backed
she
out.
literally just left. She was like, listen, she was like, there's pussy by the pound in here. She said, but ain't nobody gonna be in here fucking. And I was just like,
That's what you
that's
think.
my mom. So, my mom was always the cool mom, but my mom had limits too, She
Yeah.
wasn't just like, oh, you guys can do whatever you want here. No, she wasn't always like
Yeah,
that.
you couldn't fuck.
Yeah.
No.
Right. Couldn't fuck
No
over
one's
here.
fucking.
Nobody's fucking over here.
That was a wild night. Like my eyes were wide open.
Listen, I mean, and when you got up in the morning, there were people just laying everywhere.
Yeah.
Randomly. Like under tables and shit. Like you got people playing Tonk in the dining room for money. Like people like we were
I
that's the type
forgot
of,
about Tom.
I forgot about that too.
Like, we
Tonk-
were-
Do you remember Tonk?
like it's
Yeah.
a card game. So like we were
She might
playing
not know about
Whatever.
Tom.
yeah, we
Uh-huh.
were playing Tonk for money. Like then you get up in the morning. I mean, you got people laying under the dining room table. We had pull-out couches. I mean, people were everywhere. I'm like, what the fuck? Like
Well, I
you
remember
wake up
leaving
just
that
groggy.
party and like reeking of weed,
Uh-huh.
and then E&J and Henny.
Yes.
That everybody was passing that around.
Reeking's the wrong word. Smelling delightful.
It's sticky for the icky.
I
Like,
getting picked up. My mom was like,
what the fuck? You can't come back over here.
"No." Then she didn't give a fuck. Come on
Yeah.
back over.
Like probably was like, where's it at? You got any more of that left?
Yeah, accurate.
But I mean, like it was just. I mean, and like that E&J. My God.
Jesus, Jesus.
Easy Jesus.
Mm.
The old irk and jerk.
Man.
To this day, I can drink that shit like it's water.
Can you?
Fucking
Yeah.
kidding me?
No, I'm not.
Have you ever
way.
had
We were-
I don't know what that is. What does
Listen.
it
It's a
look like?
brand.
It's a brandy. Cheap
I don't think I've
brandy.
had
It's a
that.
very cheap brand.
For my
We
brother's
did MD 2020 all
for
the
my
time.
brother's
Yeah, we
bachelor
would-
party.
Yeah.
We did
They
that
wanted
too.
to do a shot every hour, and they were doing tequila, and I hate tequila. And I was like, I can't keep doing this. So I was looking around. I was like, I don't know where the fuck this bottle of E&J came from,
But I'm all about it.
But I'm about it right now, and I just kept it with me the
I wanna
whole
see
night.
What the label looks
What I didn't realize was I'm the only black dude there was our buddy Wayne, and me and him were sitting outside smoking a blunt, and I got this bottle of E&J, and he's looking at me. He's like eyeing me up and down. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, why are you so much blacker than me right now? and I look down. I got an old dirty bastard shirt on.
and you got a bottle of
A bottle of E&J with a blunt in my hand. and my socks were Wu-Tang socks.
I
Yeah, I can drink
remember-
E&J like it's water.
Man,
No
I
problem.
Did you hang out at Murphy's Field too? Or
No,
were
I
you-
didn't hang out Murphy's
No.
we
Field.
used to smoke at Murphy's.
Remember, everybody would have their beepers.
I had one.
Did you? I did not have
Mine
a beeper.
was- I had a
Mine
beeper.
Did you have a beeper?
Mine was
Everybody
green.
was so. I just remember. Oh God, how do I cover this up?
Yeah.
Being like, I gotta go use somebody's phone. I
Yeah,
gotta
I
get a
used
phone.
somebody's phone because you needed because you had to go make a phone call. Nobody had cell phones.
Right, it was a stupid. Pages were so dumb.
They were dumb. And you had to go
But
pay phone.
you were so cool. I just remember thinking how
I had
cool
one.
everybody was.
And then
on the
those
page.
Nokias came out with little face changing plates.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think I didn't get a cell phone. I don't think until I might have been a sophomore in high school, but like I had to beg for that bitch. Like, I mean, my mom never really gave me stuff like that. Like my grandmother would do a lot of that stuff for me. So I was always like, you know, people got cell phones. I'm like, can I get one? Like everybody has one. It's really like.
Well, our
it's an
parents were so
investment.
used to us being feral children.
But then the fucking
like,
text
be
messages
home.
were 10 cents a piece, and I was
Oh.
listen, bro. My grandma was flipping. She was like, quit doing this texting stuff. Like they're 10 cents a message. You've sent 700. I'm like, no, I haven't. Yes, you did. And I'm like, oh my god.
I remember
This
many
is so
times getting
dumb.
in big trouble for like $300 phone bills.
Yeah, for sure.
Big trouble for that. Like, but not understanding what the fuck. Like, it's just
Yeah.
a text message.
It was like at first, like you had a cell phone, but it was too expensive to actually use. You were just like, look at this
This
thing.
thing, yeah.
Look how
You
cool
can
it
play
is.
Snake
Right, you
on
can
it.
play Snake on
That's
it.
it.
They're like, oh, can I make a phone call? Like, fuck no, you
Yeah,
can't make no phone call.
Not
What's the
till
matter
after
with you?
No,
After
no phone
9.
calls. Oh my
Minutes is
god,
free
that's right.
after
Nights and
9.
weekends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nights
Nights-
and weekends.
I forgot about that. Nights and fucking
Like,
weekends.
when you
Waiting
want me to
for
call
that
you?
time to
Right.
change so you can.
When you want me to call you after 9?
Right. Yeah.
Call
But
me.
Call me before
our
9.
parents were completely content with, and we had this discussion in the salon the other day because we were talking about like location services, like how people like have location services on their kids. And there was like someone in there and they were just like, I think that's ridiculous. Like you on their kids and on their spouses, like you don't need to know where someone is all the time. Da 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 da. And
Oh,
I
I
was
did.
like, let me tell you why I like it. And it's not like I'm stalking you. Like I'll pop up
No.
on you if I'm stalking you. I'm like, instead of being like, oh my god, why aren't they answering my phone? I'm immediately going to the worst case scenario. I'm like, oh, there's their dot. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know how our fucking parents did it.
Yeah.
'Cause they
Without
just
knowing where we were.
Trusted us. And we're supposed to be
Because
at
they were happy we weren't in the house.
They're like, I don't give a fuck where they're at. Like,
That's
yeah.
true. I'm like,
Come
oh
home
yeah,
for
we're gonna
dinner.
go. We're
Yeah.
gonna go over to Sarah's house, and then we would be like, we're gonna go
go
walk
walk-
down to Murphy's Field, and we're gonna go to this person's house, and we're gonna go here, and it was just be home at a certain time.
Yeah. Before the street lights
and
came
it's
on.
different while it's not different now. Like,
Right.
Like, because people were like so scared about kidnapping and stuff. Like, they didn't happen in the past. And they did.
Yeah.
It just
They did, but it wasn't as
You didn't
frequent.
hear
Like,
about
we
it
weren't
as
really
much.
human trafficking then either.
I don't even think that it wasn't as frequent. I think it's just you just didn't hear about,
about
it as
it.
much because the news wasn't together enough for it to be national news
Yeah.
every
right,
time.
right. But now, I mean, like, I'm really like, I'll freak out if I
School
don't hear from
shootings
my
is the
kid.
one that's
Oh,
ticked up. I don't think kidnappings or human trafficking or anything
No.
like that
Yeah,
has, but school
that's
shootings.
like so. When we were in North Carolina, like I got a call from Kellen's school more than once that a student was apprehended because they threatened another student with a firearm, and I was like, and that's what really kind of pushed me to move back home. I was like, fuck this, I'm not doing this anymore. And then since we've been back, like I got another phone call. It was a recording, like, hey, this is just your principal letting you know that a student was apprehended today for threatening another student with a firearm. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, this is twice. But then again, they have police, they have school police on site, they have military on site because it's a military area, and you have civilian dress police inside the school, but anybody can walk in.
That shit happened to Big Red when I was there.
Anybody could walk in.
Didn't work out so well
Right.
for the guy that did it, but
Right.
And see, that's like we didn't
But,
know,
like,
we
now-
were so unaware if things
Right.
like that happened.
So like now at the high school, they're like, you can't get in there.
No.
You can't just walk in there.
no, yeah, no, you sure
But
can't.
you
Yeah.
should,
And these kids aren't allowed to carry their book bags around either.
which is fucking crazy. So
Right.
like instead of like let's deal with the fucking problem at its source, you can't carry your shit around.
Yeah, they make them like well, and now you got to think about it. Now they're barely using books though because everything
Yeah.
is so.
Just put it on an iPad or something.
Yeah,
Which is fine, but like
well, it's not fine for me when I'm trying to help with homework.
yeah, because you're
Because
like
I'm like, where's your book?
it's here.
They're like,
it's
oh, it's on my tablet.
You guys
And
said
I'm
that.
just
I never carried no books or a book bag at school anyway.
Really? Fuck that! I was not going all the way up to the fucking third
How
floor.
about
for my
the
shit.
book bags?
Oh, no, I didn't even know
You
what my
didn't-
locker
there
was, Sarah.
You know, Dave.
She said, "You know, Dave." I'm like, oh, okay.
But you know,
I
like,
had no idea where my
I
locker
had
was.
my book bag looked like a suitcase. Like I had the rollers on mine. Yeah, because
That's
it
smart.
was so
That's smart.
heavy. I was like, I'm not carrying this shit around.
No, our
Like,
book bags were fucking heavy.
Heavy.
Were
Books
yours
were
Yeah.
huge.
like?
Books were huge.
Oh my god!
now they're not even
Especially social studies. That book
Man.
was always
Thick.
huge.
thick as
and
fuck.
heavy.
That's when you hit somebody with it.
and
you
all
had
that
to.
false information in there.
I don't think we were
It's
allowed.
thick as
in-
fuck.
False
False information.
Really?
A book
Yeah,
full
they
of
made
bullshit.
you. I think you could only go before homeroom, like in the
You
middle
can
of
only
the
go to
day,
certain times a day. Yeah.
and then the end. Like, so you'd switch. You'd have to hold like your first 4
Yeah.
period
Yeah.
books.
When did they switch that on us? Because there was a certain point in time we had like a little extra time.
So we in the mornings we would have like homeroom for so long, and then you have like there's like a 2-minute. There's like 2 minutes that you have to get to your next class. Like, so if your locker's on the fucking ground floor and your next class is upstairs, because at first we were block scheduling freshman year,
yeah,
which was beautiful.
I love block scheduling.
Me too. And then they fucking threw us with 7 periods. I'm like, how are we supposed to do this? Like, but
Fucking terrible.
I mean, it got to a point where like you would have to. There would be times where I would use somebody's locker upstairs.
Yeah,
Because I would be like, whose locker is up here? I can use real
Sharing
quick.
lockers
Just
for
sharing
sure.
lockers, because it was like, I'm not trying to carry all this shit around all day, but then.
That's why I didn't worry about it.
What?
I remember once a girl asked me if she could borrow a pencil, and I was like,
What do you
talking
mean?
about?
Oh my god!
I don't
were
have
you, were you
anything.
that?
I don't
were
have
you that
anything.
kid? Like, can I get a pencil? Can I borrow a pencil?
No.
Can I get a pencil? No.
No, I didn't
You
ask
just-
nobody. People. One time, a girl asked me for a pencil. I was like, "You're kidding, right?
I'm good.
Like, I don't
What
got
is
nothing.
that?
Like, I don't have a
Like,
notebook. What are you talking
I'm
about?"
gonna
Right.
write down.
And then I got in trouble.
I used to fucking love back to school shopping though, because I would
Oh,
get
was
all
it?
those bright
But how
colored
fresh was
pens
everybody that
and
first week?
fresh,
Bro, everybody
crisp.
crispy.
Crisp.
Everybody crispy the first couple days.
and
after
as
that,
you go on, you get worse and
sweats and
worse.
fucking t-shirts, and then Christmas hits, and then everybody comes back from Christmas break kind of clean.
Listen, I told
I
her.
always just had whatever Jared Grimm's parents were getting rid of. I'm like, hold on, what you throwing away?
Let me
I'm
get
like,
that.
what is that?
Listen, I love a hand-me-down.
I told her my very first day of high school was the first and only day that I dressed up.
Yeah, after that, it was
After
it.
that,
sweats. I mean,
Sweats.
sweats the whole time.
maybe some jeans. Like occasionally, if you like post breakup or something,
Yeah,
throw
you might
something fresh on.
you might want to bust out in a cute outfit like you wish.
But
you
after
had
that,
You wouldn't
After
even have recognized me in high school. I was matching FUBU outfits.
this. I hate you. Not the FUBU.
Oh, the FUBU.
Listen, we used to get like our first down like coats from Brother Don at the bottom of Washington. Like downtown, like you go down to Washington Hill, he used to have that truck right there.
Yeah.
He was selling like FUBU outfits. He was selling fucking.
I
coats
remember
and
because he
everything.
would have them all hanging out.
Yeah, he was a little Muslim dude.
They had
down
that.
there.
They had that. He might have been the same dude. Had the place in the mall for a little while, and you used to be able to get like Beverly Hills Polo Club and shit in there. Yeah, FUBU. Yep.
Yeah, Tommy Hilfiger here and there. Like it. Like
I
it's
was
just so-
unrecognizable.
Right.
It was right as you're coming up Washington Street Hill, where there's like an auto parts shop right there. Well, that used to be was it a bar behind it? And
Yeah.
then like
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
a
yeah.
gravel lot, but there was a bar, and then
It was Washington Street
dude
Bar.
had a little stand.
Yeah.
And he would sell
He had a
clothes.
Forgot about that Washington Street bar.
Yeah, it used to be
Yes.
right.
Isn't
Yeah.
that where Salih got shot at?
I don't know who got. There's so many different people that got shot down there. Like it was just
right
rough.
on the corner.
But it closed.
It looked like it
closed.
was about the size of this room.
Yeah,
Yes.
but it was closed for years, and then he was like always setting up out there, and then you can get
Stop
shit,
and- stop
get
and
whatever
get
you
Forgot
get.
about that bar.
Yeah, like but now that auto store is right there.
They
It's like it-
bulldozed
Right
everything
across the
down
street
and-
from that
other
auto
auto
store.
store. Listen, I went in there the other day and I was just like, I need a a blinker light or whatever. We don't have it, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, nobody has it. Walmart don't have it. And then I was like, I could go across the street to the other auto store. That's like I'm looking dead at it. Like, and I was like, no, I don't feel like it. So, welcome.
You go walk
could've
over
walked
there.
over there, but I was
Welcome to
like,
the Midwest. Auto store, auto store,
store.
bar, pizza
Auto-
shop.
Square pizza shop, more square. They're like, you guys have square pizza? Like,
Yep.
bro.
Yeah,
and
we
it's-
got that in fast food. What do
and
you
fast
want?
food. What do you want?
Don't
Yeah.
forget the Chinese restaurants. Don't leave them
Hey,
out.
number one.
That's number one. All
You
day.
know where our new location is? I'm like, new. Like, y'all been there for about at least 10 years.
I like number one, and I can't lie. When I'm feeling fancy, sesame.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say I've never had sesame.
We-
Everybody talks about how good it is.
We
but I've
recently
had-
went
yeah.
back to what's the one that we've been going? Is it
Sesame.
Sesame?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes. We've been recently
Because I do like number
revisiting
one.
Sesame.
Me too.
Yeah, like number one. They'd be like, number one.
When,
And
I,
they're
when, I,
like,
when, I'm, when I'm feeling flush though, when I got that little extra money in my pocket,
Okay.
I'm going to Sesame.
Splurge a little bit.
Yeah, go a little wild.
But
you know?
yeah, I don't know. Like, when I count, like I said, I was so dead set on that egg roll this morning. And it was like closed. I'm like, bitch.
Where did you go for an egg roll? Number 1?
I didn't go anywhere because they ain't even open. They don't open till they didn't open till 12.
Well, it's a
I'm
good
like,
thing
about
it's
to go
12:27.
Get some lunch here after this.
Yeah.
Are you
I'm getting
is your blood
hungry.
sugar plummeting right now?
Yes.
Yeah. She's
Once
like,
you know, I
"I'm
haven't eaten shit.
But
today.
this is-
haven't even had
You
a
haven't ate
first meal
anything?
today. I
This
had
is for sure the
coffee.
longest podcast you guys have done.
Absolutely. You're going to have to edit the fuck out of this.
No, we don't
No,
edit
we
it.
don't edit. There's
you
no
don't.
editing.
Just I take care of the beginning and the end. That's
We're
it.
raw.
Oh, okay.
Raw
Raw.
dogging
Raw
here.
dogging. All right.
We got to get MaeLynn back on though.
Oh my gosh.
She's gonna be
There's
returned
just
guest.
so much
I
that we
know.
didn't even
talk about. Yeah. There's just so
There's-
So y'all
much.
just gonna start talking at the same time now?
finishing each other's sentences.
No.
No, but I've been dying to come on because I'm like, I'm watching them do stuff with everybody else. Like this Sierra episode was probably my favorite, one of my favorites, because I grew up with her too.
Actually, most people don't realize I've known her. Like she's actually one of the first people I met when I moved here. She was like this big because
Yeah.
my mom went to that church.
Yeah, yeah. Like she grew up down the street from my grandparents, so like I knew her. I've known her for a long part.
Good old Union Ave.
Yeah, I've known her. She lived in my great grandma's old house. They bought it.
I didn't realize that was your great grandma.
That was my great grandmother's house. That was my grandma's mom's house. Yeah, they bought it like because I remember my grandma was selling it to them. Like I was just like, oh, we know them, so we just kind of. That's when Sierra had like long hair.
Long ass hair.
Man, real long.
That church life won't let you cut things, you know.
They sure won't.
You know,
You gotta
hands.
Next episode, we'll have to have a little wine. We can do it now.
Yeah, I can do that.
After hours.
I can do
special.
that.
Where the fuck is this? I feel like we should do that and then
Don't threaten me with a good
occasionally
time.
have like some special guest appearances.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we'll shoot it. We gotta get Amber to come
Oh yeah.
on. Amber will come on here and just laugh.
Yeah, the whole
whole
time. Yeah. But she's great though. I mean, there's so much stuff that we could just talk about. I am grateful that you guys asked me to come on. It was pretty dope.
You were the first person that we wanted to have on, but unfortunately,
I wasn't living
You
around.
weren't living
your husband took
Like,
you
when
far
can
away.
when can you come on? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, so we've been
When can I
dying.
come? But I don't know. When can I fly home? When can I drive home? Just
And then
like,
it was just like,
I'm moving back. So you guys gonna have me on or what?
like
yeah.
absolutely. And then you're like, I got this fucking job and I work.
I'm like, I'm off every other weekend though. And it's like, she's like, can you do Sunday? I'm like, Sunday morning. I'm like, yeah. What time?
Sunday
12.
afternoon.
I'm like, bitch, it's afternoon.
Well,
But no, I mean, you guys are. I love like watching you guys talk to other people, and you guys really. I mean, like our shit's kind of not as deep as some of the other people that you guys have on, but I guess kind of relevant. I don't know, but like you guys have some really. You guys really have some good guests that you guys have come on here and stuff. It's pretty cool. I've watched a few of them.
I think talking about your guys' you and John's relationship though is huge.
Yeah,
And-
very big.
It's something that I got from that. It was a question that was asked, and I wanted to say, like, I think the biggest thing was being very, very real communication
Yeah.
and very real honesty
Yeah,
is really what
yeah. I mean,
helped y'all out.
oh yeah. I might
And I
have to
think it's
talk him
rare.
into coming on.
and I've told you this from the beginning. I would love. We both would love to have him on because actually, I think you were the one. You were like, I want to have John on. And I was like, I don't know how much we're gonna get him to talk. And then I
yeah.
asked you, and you were like, I don't know how much you're gonna get him to talk.
I'll work on that.
But
I told him. I said I think it would be. I think his story's phenomenal. I think his story's phenomenal
Yes.
without like spilling too much of it. But his story's. I mean,
it is, and like he might think like it's.
I don't
nothing
think
special.
but he doesn't. That's why
but
I'm like
because he lived it.
because he lived it. Yeah, but like I said, there were so many things that he was just like, it was normal. It was normal, and I'm just like, I'm sobbing. Like, what the fuck?
You're
do
like,
you
this
mean?
is not fucking
Like, this
normal.
is not normal. But like at the time, I think that I think he would be open to talking about some of it, and I think it would be really great to hear his story. But his story's
Absolutely.
his story's pretty amazing, and I'm like, I've never met anybody like you, dude. You're a little bit of everything.
Hence
Little
why you're like,
Heinz
you ain't going
57.
nowhere.
And you were
Listen,
there
I
for
told-
most of it.
I was there for but like it's so. I told him one day, I was like, like you can never leave me, right?
I know about all the bodies.
Yeah. I was like, you do know that if you try to leave me, like I will kill you.
Remember the one
He was
time
like,
he
"Stop
tried
acting
and
crazy."
you were on the hood of the car?
Man, that was yeah, that was a good one. I was like, you're gonna talk to me. He's like, no, I'm not. Get off my car. I was like, I'm not getting off your car. He's like, I will take the fuck off. Pew. flying at least 30 miles an hour down a residential street, and that's fast. He hit
To be holding onto the hood of a car, it's super fast.
Yeah, and he hit them brakes, and I didn't budge because I said, I'll rip the whole hood off of this fucking car. Like, that's how mad I was. But, I mean, again, I was probably about 16 or 17 at the time, and John was almost 20 years old, so he was living his best good life. He had a job, he had, and then I was getting jealous about it. We've been through, like I said, everything, but I would like to see. I'm gonna ask him about coming on. See if I can get him once he gets back. I'm like, why don't you just think about it? He's like, I don't know, MaeLynn. What do they want to talk to me about? I'm like, well, we can talk about that before we talk about it, But
it would just be nice too to like revisit some of these stories and be like, okay, what's your personal what was?
And you know what? Like, he doesn't always tell me what he thinks of me. So for you guys to ask him in front of me and me to be around,
you're like, I'm just gonna sit in that chair over there and be like, oh, really?
Like, so what does he really think? But like I said, he's great. I mean, I've always felt like our relationship, like, some people are real private about their relationships. And I mean, there are some things that I won't say, but like, I mean, there's some things that I'm like, I'm an open book. I don't care. Like, we've been through hell and back and then some. So,
Accurate.
and we're still hanging out. So he likes me a little bit.
You guys still like each other.
At least. But
like we say, you have to like and love each other.
Thank you so much for being a guest today.
Well, thank you guys for having me. This was so cool and fun.
Episode 1 of many.
Yeah. We'll have to find other things to like chit chat about. Our past is pretty awesome.
Find other things to talk about.
We got a lifetime of shit.
Yeah, we had a lot of shit to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to find some of the
more pictures.
Mom has been blowing me up with just dumb shit, but I'm going to try to find.
And yeah, some of them pictures, I'm like, why is she sending those? Because
like, this is not that.
This is like that kind of part.
No, we don't want to talk about that
part of your life.
No, let that go.
But yeah, thank you guys for having me on. This was great.
You're welcome.
I'm excited.
We love you so much.
And I love you guys so much. You too, Dave. I
Appreciate you.
fuck with you too, Dave.
You too, Dave. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hopefully you stayed the whole time. You should have, or I will judge you. No, I'm just joking. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of good information. And we will see you guys next episode.
Thank you.
Thank you.